Never before have we had greater face a complex, rapidly changing world. Think of it a moment.
It is a world in which supersonic speeds are commonplace. It is a world that has seen the coming of the atomic bomb. It has seen the rise of the total state, the dictator, and the mass man. It is a world of new sensations, new excitements, new distractions.
So much to be learned by so many in so little time.
And I suppose you're here with no agenda, as per usual?
On the contrary, I'm here for comics. What kind of man are you anyway? I'm talking comics and you bring up chicks and romance?
All right, I think we're good. I think I'm live. How's it going, everybody? It's Thursday night here on this big, beautiful planet we call home. And as always, that means it is time for another episode of Foil Variant. Guys, I'm very happy to be hanging out with you tonight. Of course, it's been another long week of comic book news and comic book trailers and comic books. So we do have a lot to talk about tonight, not necessarily in the realm of maybe physical comics, because it was kind of a quiet week, like admittedly. We're just in that phase, you know, cycles and all that. Nothing's wrong. It's just nothing. We got our Absolute Batman, right? So we definitely have Absolute Batman. That's the winner of this week, as always. We'll talk some Amazing Spider-Man, some other stuff, because we do have Andrew with us. He is back from SpaceCon. He is ready to talk comic books. He's got his pull list and everything this week. Here's the deal. The reason we are starting so late right now is because while Andrew and I were behind the scenes, while we were getting ready to prep and we were, you know, talking about what the show will be, right before I hit play, or like right before I hit start on the intro, Andrew spilled his wine, which, one, crime, you can't stream without alcohol. You can't stream without wine. What are we doing here? And two, you can't necessarily stream when you've got a bunch of, you know, liquid dripping all over the places. Your collectibles are in danger, the comics you just bought. So Andrew right now is taking care of that. He will be back in just a second to hang out with us, give his thoughts, update us on SpaceCon, his thoughts on Supergirl, Brand New Day, all of that fun stuff. But until then, you've got me. We're here to vamp. I'm here to say hello to you guys. That's all I've really got, because I was expecting Andrew to be here to do our normal intro. So with that, why don't I go to the chat right now, say hi to you guys, see what's up, and yeah, let's get this show on the road. First up, we have Clone Geek is here. Clone Geek says, imagine being Absolute Joker's dentist. Dude, like, so this falls into that zone, right, that I always talk about, of like bar jokes, right? Where I actually think this is funny. And like, if we played it out, like, oh my God, what would you have to be, like, steel to be able to like endure, like John Henry in his armor to endure being his dentist and stuff, right? Like, that's fun to play with, and all of us sitting here as friends, like, laughing. If DC did a book about this, or they made it some big old plot point, it would fall into that Grant Morrison trap of like, it's comic books, why are we getting so hung up on the minutia, right? But that said, Clone Geek, as we've said before, Absolute Joker, scariest guy I've ever seen in my life, right? So we're definitely gonna talk him, because the Absolute Universe Bruce Wayne, if you will, has met it's interesting. We'll get into it. I know Andrew's gonna have a lot of thoughts on those parallels when we get to that. Clone Geek also says all the Brand New Day tie-in books are written by people over 50. Yes, and so this is something I wanted to talk about, right? Because with the start of this week, we got the first full trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day, the next MCU entry. We also got the first issue of Spider-Man Long Way Home, which is a Spider-Man Hulk Punisher miniseries written by Jonathan Hickman with art by Adam Kubert. And we got the second issue of the spectacular Spider-Man Brand New Day like miniseries they're doing, which we've Andrew and I have talked about this. It feels like they're trying to be like in on the joke, like haha, nobody likes Brand New Day, right? But we're doing a Brand New Day book because that's the movie, but nobody's laughing. And it's also like, why are we revisiting this era? There's nothing new to tell here. There's literally nothing new. You only made that book because it has the title and you can, promo, oh yeah, it's Brand New Day. Come read this book after the movie. To your point, to your point, Clone Geek, and what I was just saying, I think what also, yes, it is a lot of older people trying to write a Brand New Day era Pete, which is, struggling, whether he's in the movie or it's in the comic books and all that fun stuff. And, one second. So damn, I forgot what I was going to say because, alrighty, he's back. Andrew!
What is going on, guys?
Whoa, we got Double Andrews here. What's going on with Double Andrews?
We don't...
How do I get rid of Double Andrews? Double Andrews. How about now?
Check.
I feel like, are you guys hearing a Double Andrew? Or is it just me? Or am I just farting around over here?
Ideally, nobody should be hearing Double Andrew.
It's weird because do you have the NVIDIA thing up? Because it's like once you hit a certain peak, it doubles, and then if you go under it, you're normal.
Well, that's weird. Hold on.
Yeah, super strange. Welcome
audio
to the
source is
mysteries
correct.
of streaming, everybody.
Man, you're not kidding. Okay, so that's correct. Is this output? Hold on. Yeah, that's correct. Check.
Check. I hear you.
All right. Still doubling though?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna refresh my browser, and maybe that'll kick us into high gear. You know how it goes?
Okay.
So 1 second.
What is going on, chat? The evening kicked off exactly how I would like it not to, which is by my dumbass knocking over my entire glass of red wine, mind you, onto my carpet. That has actually never happened before.
Is your carpet white?
But my dumb butt had my absolute hardcovers stacked because I was looking at them on my desk, and then a couple of them slipped out of my fingers and fell over, and I was stupid enough to have them placed right next to my wine glass, and so it knocked over the wine glass. So
that is what will happen. Can anybody hear me? Am I coming through?
I can hear you.
Okay, because I'm getting no feedback on the mixer. 1 second. This is dumb.
I can hear you just fine. Let me pull
as long as you can hear me. And okay, yes, never mind. I see what's going on. I've got it.
You're really quiet on the YouTube side.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I'm also sitting back a little bit from my microphone right there, just because. All right, that'll probably do it. That'll probably be better.
At this point, it's kind of part of our branding to have technical issues every single time we start.
If we didn't, you'd assume we were replaced by reptilians or
people that actually knew what they were doing when it came to this.
What?
Couldn't be me.
People who have done this for years and regularly for bigger operations and organizations. Couldn't be us. But Andrew, right before you returned to us, we were talking with Clone Geek about the Brand New Day synergy, and I was bringing up the point that this round feels particularly weird because they relaunched a new series in that Brand New Day timeline with Dan Slott, and then there's this Spider-Man Long Way Home mini that came out or started this week. Did you pick that up?
No.
Okay, so that's the one.
No, I'm only at this point hanging on to Amazing Spider-Man just because they had.
I don't know why.
Finally put Patrick Gleason on the damn interiors. I'm like, look at that. When
the
book is
wasting, they are wasting him, my friend. We will talk about it. There are 3 pages of Spider-Man this week.
Yeah.
And it's great because Gleason he knows how to do like a very dynamic Spidey, like a loose Spidey. Like he feels like he's like gonna crawl all over you. But it's 3 pages. And then the rest of the book is just ass. It's not using him to his, this is a story for John Romita, you know what I mean? Or for Junior, right? Like this is, if he was still on the book, this would play to his strengths perfectly of people standing around and changing their facial structure every 5 seconds. But Long Way Home is that the Jonathan Hickman, Adam Kubert miniseries with Hulk, Punisher, Spider-Man, and it takes place like so here's where how do I explain this? Okay. To my point about all of this all the synergy being weird. This miniseries takes place at a time when we have Peter as Spidey, and the Hulk's been around for maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
We don't have a Punisher yet. But the thing is, this entire miniseries revolves around like, the premise is right now, Frank is part of like a Black Ops unit, and they've been sent to go destroy like a Hydra base. And in the middle of trying to attack the Hydra base, Hulk shows up and just starts, thrashing everything. And long story short, Frank gets like a cosmic cube that's not stable. And he's like, well, I don't know what to do with this, but I can't let the enemy have it. And then S.H.I.E.L.D. calls in Spider-Man, and they're like, we need superhero help on this one. But it's so weird because it's like, remember, like, I don't know. It's weird to me what am I trying to say here? Because a lot of my issue here deals with Frank, right? Because let me ask you something. How do you feel about updating Frank's origin? Like, do you think it can be done to take him out of Vietnam?
I think you can. I think you can take him out of Vietnam as long as you maintain his, his family getting killed off in the way that they did. I think you can still manage to do that. But it's one of those things where this is Marvel's sliding time scale and tying so many things into real world events,
right,
where it bites them in the ass continuity wise, because it's like, well, then Frank should be older than dirt and a half right now.
He
right?
really should.
He should be 6 days older than creation at this point.
Well, that's the other point I was going to get to is in this book, they say, instead of saying Vietnam, they just say that like Frank has returned from like the war that we don't speak of, like the catastrophic war. So it gives it this like air of like, could be Vietnam, could be Iraq, right? Like, who knows? But it's like, to me, there's something like, yes, you need to have his family killed. But I think if you're going to go for like the high level Chuck Dixon Punishers and like that kind of stuff, it really, you need that. The Vietnam angle kind of matters because there's that specific break in Vietnam soldiers' minds. Right? Like that was when we first, the American public first got our first taste of like, oh, we got our asses kicked. But they, told us.
And then
we
on top of that,
great.
really also seeing more direct effects of like PTSD.
Exactly. And so it's like,
because you had soldiers that were shell shocked, back in World War I and II. That was a thing, but that didn't get highlighted nearly as much because it wasn't as widespread.
Not as widespread and not as like visceral, right? Like we sent so many young kids to Vietnam and they're just watching all these traps, right? Like a Legend of the Tomb Raider game, essentially, is what they're like experiencing every day out there. So that's just that to me is an incidental thing. It's not necessarily what I'm trying to get at here. It's a conversation for another day if we ever have a Punisher discussion, which I don't imagine you and I having. But yeah, it's just like the sliding time scale thing. Now you've put Frank here, like he's not Punisher yet, but he's going to interact with Spider-Man. So my question then becomes, as you brought up with like the sliding time scale stuff, like, if this is a team up and we assume that as with all team ups, Frank and Peter will find a common ground or something, how do you go from that to, yes, Jackal, I will assassinate Spider-Man. I hate this guy. Like, this is how I'm getting started, right? that's still technically his origin, or his like,
Yeah.
not origin, but his first showing
appearance.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's weird to me to bring it all back to Brand New Day, because like, why didn't you guys just make like okay, I know I just talked shit on it, but like that slot Spider-Man like Brand New Day mini they're doing, I don't like it. Nobody should do it. But if you were gonna do something, just do that. This weird attempt to highly synergize your characters with the movie that's coming out, we've seen it time and time again, right? It just makes the comics themselves,
it doesn't work, because so
messier.
frequently the way that they're doing the adaptation or the movies is so different and disconnected from the source material that ultimately so much of it just is not going to line up. And so when you try to force that synergy through, you're trying to force a like a pentagon shaped peg into a triangle shaped hole.
Yes. And it doesn't work. And like what happens is, I think you put it right there perfectly, like putting the triangle in a square hole or a circle, whatever. I'm bad at those games, all right? But because it's like, remember Spider-Man 1, where we gave Pete organic web shooters, right? I can see the argument. I could go either way, but if I'm in a Hollywood executive boardroom, I can see the argument for a movie where we've got an hour, give him organic, right? That way we don't have to do that, you
don't have to spend any time on. Well, they didn't have to spend any time on the science end for Tobey's Spider-Man.
And you never really have to run into the, why doesn't he have webs right now? Which we get as comic readers, and it's better. But I get it. At that time, in culture and media, it's what you needed to do. They decided to do that in the comics, remember? And the problem was, how did they do it, Andrew? They did it with all of that other crap. And what's her name? The like insect queen who showed up in Spider Island and Kane killed her. And those stories are so bad. And like, it's clear. It's like, oh, we got to make Peter have organic webbing. Just do this. And you don't think about it, even though this stuff is coming down the pipe. It's so bizarre. But yeah, the tie-in stuff for Brand New Day is very odd, and we'll talk more about Brand New Day proper as we get into the show. We're just gonna say hi to the rest of everybody here. Punk is here. What's going on, Punk? Punk says, I downloaded the PS4 version of Marvel Rivals on Tuesday. I practiced with a couple of characters. Luna Snow was the character I really liked. First, I will say, kudos to the Rivals team over there, because like, they are still maintaining support for PS4, and that PS4 client has special tweaks that are like, you can drop this graphic setting lower than you should on anything, and
that way it still runs.
Right. So like, you're gonna have to like, anybody still playing on PS4 will have to upgrade eventually. But the fact that they're not doing the like, boom, immediate, you gotta get it.
Yeah, well, no longer supported on PS4 type of thing.
Yeah, they're not doing that. So I'll always give them credit for that. Luna Snow, I like her. I just feel she doesn't. I always want her to do like 10% more than I'm able to do, right? Like when I'm healing with my aura, I'm like, just extend it a little bit so I can get that guy over there. Or when you're doing like the clap with the icicles, it's like, just give me one more bullet. I just need, instead of reloading, and I could have gotten them. So, but aside from that, I love Luna. She's great. But Andrew, I do have a piece of Rivals related news for us to discuss tonight. Just really quick to bring this up. Ladies and gentlemen, we did it. Emma Frost finally has a skin without a back drape, which, there you go, speaks for itself.
We're finally showing off the diamond cake.
It is crazy.
They did not hold back.
Did you unlock
God bless
it yet?
NetEase. Hell yeah, I did.
That's all right. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm fucking talking about.
First thing I did when I woke up this morning, I booted up my PC. I'm sipping on my coffee, and like doing the update for Rivals. And the second it finished updated, I opened that son of a bitch, and I grabbed that. Click.
Isn't it like a balloon event though?
Yeah, it's a balloon event. Yeah. And the thing is, I didn't have to spend anything because I had already saved up a ton of like units and credits and whatever the different currencies are. I always forget which one's which. The blue ones are units. That's the only thing I can remember.
And then it's like
One of
chrono
them's
tokens
Lattice.
and lattice. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's purple, gold, and blue. All right.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
be
what it is.
easy,
Yeah,
Netties.
I spent blue stuff and gold stuff and got diamond stuff, and that diamond stuff being Emma's booty.
Emma's booty.
Um,
Yeah. I booted up the game to take these screenshots for us. Wanted to buy it like outright because I have it all too, but then I saw the balloon thing and I was like, I don't know. We have to go on foil variant like right now. Like I don't have time to like decide what this is. But yes, just wanted to highlight this, guys, because whether you're a longtime Rivals player or you're a longtime watcher of our show, we've wanted the diamond cake out here and stunning for a while. And now this 8-foot Amazon queen can finally strut.
She's so tall in this game.
Dude, I'm all about it. I don't know about it. It's great.
I'm here for it. I'm mad.
Have you played Cyclops yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't actually
either.
played a match yet since getting back from SpaceCon.
Which, speaking of,
and he dropped the day I left for SpaceCon,
like last week. So speaking of, how was SpaceCon, Mr.
It was cool.
Ripaverse creator here, ArcStream? Tell us anything cool happened, anything noteworthy? People come up to you and go, "I need this." Like right now, I saw you from across the room, and I need to get that covered.
Nobody quite said that. However, huge shout out to Caro because Dirty Deeds carried the show for us because
really?
Well, it's a sci-fi based con specifically. You know, there's a lot of Star Trek, a lot of Battlestar Galactica, a lot of Star Wars. They had a ton of big actors from all these properties,
so it's gonna slot right into that.
And it slotted in perfectly. There's not a huge comic book presence in terms of the audience at SpaceCon.
Really?
But because we had Dirty Deeds from Caro and also Zaylin from Chuck, like those books moved quite a bit. I was able to what was really cool is we don't normally do well with posters at conventions just because like that's a large thing to carry around. It doesn't matter if it's laid flat in a board or if it's rolled up in a tube. The tube's a little easier to carry around.
Right.
But it's still a large item.
It's a large thing that you have to take care of, right? Like,
yeah,
I get
exactly. But we brought Caro's posters for Dirty Deeds and we brought my Zephyr poster. And what I did was I displayed them, like I laid them out on our tables so that people could see like 3/4 of them. And we actually moved quite a few of those posters for both of them because they were just like, wow, this is like not just a really cool piece of art, but they loved the character designs and all of that, which was really cool. And these are people that have never heard of us before. They don't know who the hell the Ripaverse is. They're like, they just see cool poster and like, what the hell is that? And so tell them a little bit about it and then they buy it. And some of them also bought a book with it. And some were just like, I just dig that poster. I want the poster.
I used to do that a lot when I was younger. Like when I would go to Comic-Con or something, I'd be like, I have no idea about your comic or what you do, but this poster's pretty cool. Can I grab that? Like, I'll check it out later. What you said right there is pretty interesting to me that like, you know, there's no real comic book presence there, which like, yes, you're right. SpaceCon is advertised as like a sci-fi convention. I guess just in my head with how like corporate and consumerist our hobbies have become, I would have, you know, if you'd have put me on the spot, I'd have gone, if it's not a big thing, like one of the ones that everybody knows, which I think is only like GalaxyCon at this point, or SpaceCon, I guess. But the idea that you can have a full con just on like the genre, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not, because when I think of Comic-Cons or card shows or whatever, right? It's like you're putting that on, yes, for fans, but also it's you can make a pretty penny if you just throw, you know, back issues, trades, yada yada. At sci-fi cons, I guess the merch is there, but I don't know. Maybe this is my ignorance showing. You know what I mean? And maybe we're just too young heads to fully.
Well, a lot of the merch sellers were doing really well. You know, because you had a lot of people with like, you know, older or just rare in general, like sci-fi property action figures or prop replicas, things like that. And those did very well. But like there were only a couple of us comic book people. And in terms of like just actual publishers, even fewer. Like we were the biggest one, I think, in terms of like just indie comic publishers
Right.
in general there. And then there were a couple of other guys. Most of the other comic book presence, which I think was only one, and I'll say a half other people, other booths. It was just like old back issues. We're talking like 20 years or
I know
older at
I know
least,
those. Yeah,
right?
the like 40s, 50s, 60s. Yeah, the Silver Age bins and the Golden Age
Yeah,
bins, where it's like you could
there
find
was a
something
lot of
maybe for
that.
$1, but any of the good stuff, they've already taken out and graded, and
Yeah.
you're not
Well,
gonna
in
grab it.
fact, I actually so my only real purchase, which was a very small one actually, from Space Con, I got 4 $6 comics.
Very nice.
I got this old issue of the
Ooh,
Flash, which I have in storage, but I don't have one that's bagged and boarded at least as nice as this one. And that's an important issue, wedding of Wally and Linda,
Wally
so
and
that's
Linda.
cool. Good iconic issue. And then I saw these and I was like, oh well, I already have these, but I wouldn't be mad about having more of them. Um, Turner,
Ooh, whoa! I
Turner
didn't even
Flash
know
cover.
Turner did that. I've never seen that.
Yeah,
I've
Turner did
genuinely.
that one,
Is that
and
Kyle
he
above
did
his
that one.
shoulder?
Yeah, no,
Is that a Green
that's
Lantern?
John. That's John.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, it is a Green Lantern, but yeah, it's John, and then Hawkman and
You got
Arrow.
John, yeah, and
And
Martian Manhunter.
oh, I thought that was Batman. I've
No,
like
Martian
I'm just
Manhunter, Hawkman, Green Arrow up here in the corner,
I'm just
which is
like
hard to see.
okay, I thought it was Green Arrow. I'm just like stunned because I've never seen that. I'm being
Yeah,
actually honest. I've never seen that issue cover in my life,
that's a
which is
cool one.
awesome.
That's a
It is a
cool one.
very
And then
cool.
you got this one with the
What was the other
robes
one?
and
I've seen that one because I remember like that's the only time he's done Reverse Flash,
yeah,
which I
correct.
yeah I remember that.
Correct. Well,
Which
or specifically that's Zoom.
yeah, Zoom instead of
Yeah,
yeah.
because that was during John's
Well,
run.
no, it's the same thing. Let's get
Man.
on. Welcome to
Freaking
Sonic X DC. No,
oh god. And then
uh,
this one because I always liked
I
Future
like
Iris.
I like that design a lot.
Yeah.
Like Kid Flash 2, even though she's in
hmm
like maybe like 2 panels or something.
And I had forgotten all about this design until I saw it too, and I was like, that's got some Zephyr interim suit energy there with the jacket,
Oh
right? And
yeah,
the rolled up
and the
sleeves.
open hair,
Yeah.
red open
Except
hair, right?
she's got the glasses instead of just the open eyes or whiteout eyes. But that was a cool one to have because it's a number
Definitely.
one. So I was like, I'll grab it anyway.
Isn't it
'Cause I
just like
actually
isn't
I
that
don't
just a
think I
one shot
had
or is
that.
it like a two
It
shot?
I'm pretty sure it is a one shot because I think
Yeah,
for the Kingdom, they were doing a bunch of because these are essentially not tie-ins, but they're connected to Kingdom Come.
they're like expansions on Kingdom Come, right?
Yeah, they all
Yeah.
take place in that same world. It's because it's written by Wade. But yeah, those were my main things that I grabbed from Space Con.
No,
But
that's
overall, it was a good
awesome.
con. It was exciting and very validating. Um, that people were wanting to buy my poster just off of seeing the design alone.
I mean, we
Right?
got
I even
Comics
had
Dad
one
here,
guy.
and Comics Dad brings it up. If the poster art is good enough, I buy it and protect it like my children, right? And so you got a good design, you got a good guy. We're just waiting for that issue to drop.
Yeah. Well, there was even and I think I told you this. There was even an electrical engineer that
Yes.
passed by the booth, and he
I
stopped.
was trying to guide you there because the story is
Yeah.
awesome.
So there was an electrical engineer that passes by the booth, the reverse booth, and I'm standing behind one of the tables where I've got Caro's Arid poster, which has a ton of berserk energy to it,
Oh yeah.
because you got the big old giant flaming sword, and then I've got my Zephyr poster there as well, right? And dude just walks by and he stops. He just looks at it, and he looks at it for a moment, and then he starts asking me these questions about the character's suit design, and they're all very explicitly like electrical engineer oriented questions that like you would only ask those questions if you understood the mechanics to those things.
Yeah.
And and he starts rattling those off, and I'm like, yeah, that's actually a good read because that's exactly what I was thinking about when I was designing. He was like, oh, you designed that, okay, like were you an electrical engineer in a past life or something like that? I was
Nope.
like, nope, but that's extremely validating,
I
so
just
thank
got
you.
lucky. Yeah. No, so like that's what I mean. Like that's sick to have. You never know what's going to catch somebody's eye, right? Like
Yeah.
a profession or I don't know. I just think it's really cool. I'm glad you had a great Space Con. Those issues are really awesome pulls, and they remind me to remind all of you out there, Kickstarter.com. The DC art of Michael Turner is now up for pre-order. It is in the same class as the or no, wait, is it Turner book that they put up? What did we pre-order?
Yep. Yeah, it's the Turner one.
Then it must be a different, because I have the Marvel art of Michael Turner.
Yeah, that's what this one is. This is just the slipcase.
No, I mean the one we just ordered.
Right, yeah, no, the one that they just put out is the DC one, whereas this one that we already had is the Marvel one.
The Marvel art. Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Which, guys?
Yeah, this one's the Marvel one.
If you've got the money to spare, and you are, I'm sure Andrew already got one, but there is a reprint of what was it, Superman, Batman, like 6 or
number
13? 8, that's what it is. Yeah, with not new Turner art, but like a new cover. Like they're using a new piece of Turner art that he had already done, but it's foiled, it's beautiful. $60, pick it up. I'm assuming you did.
I haven't put in my order yet, actually.
What?
It's
you
literally
missed the
sitting
early
in
bird. You missed the early bird.
That's still part of the big I want it all thing anyway.
Oh, okay, good. Then, yeah, you are gonna you're gonna go, bro.
I can't not, because that's what's gonna get me the freaking 24 by 36 poster of literally my favorite piece of Supergirl art ever. Which is that one that's just the bust shot, right? It's like from lower upper body up to her head, and it's like got the fiery orange background and everything. Yep. I love that piece so much. It's this piece. That's on.
I always laughed at that piece because, like, yes, you're doing Supergirl. It's a great piece, Turner. One of the best. Like, I'm not arguing that, but it's like, oh, you cheeky devil. DC's trying to get away from the Matrix and the Angel and the Fire, and here you go, dropping a banger piece that is Matrix Supergirl, like lit on fire.
Yeah.
But all right, let's see. We also have Zero in the house. Says he's in need of a new controller, and he's playing Front Mission 3. In the meantime, honestly, just grab a. I know we talked about this a little bit a couple days ago.
Just grab a DualShock 4.
Yeah, just grab a DualShock 4. They still exist. Honestly,
or even better, just get a freaking Xbox One controller. Like, just not even a Series X controller, just like an Xbox One standard one.
Yeah, we don't all need to be Andrew with like $700 controllers to play Xenoblade like 7 times in a row, right? Like, I never.
Okay.
I've heard good reviews about like the like Logitech controller that was controlling the Titan submarine. Like, I'm not even making a joke. Like, yes, that thing exploded, but I've heard like amazing reviews about like that's why the controller was picked, because it's so good.
The controller probably wasn't the issue, right? With that,
no, definitely. Submarine. I'm gonna say not. I'm gonna say it's definitely not the issue. I'm gonna say
there were other things going on there.
We've got Angie23 here. It says, hello, Foil Variant. Are you excited for Spider-Man Brand New Day? I don't think Peter is mutating. It's probably the symbiote that was left behind in No Way Home. It must have somehow found Peter. Also, what kind of Spider-Man popcorn bucket are you going to get? They want the web shooter one that's also a drink carrier. So first, let's see. Should we just get into Brand New Day here with that question?
May as well. It's kind of a decent segue, I'd think.
So first, I will ask you, Andrew, since you're somebody who actually has bought popcorn buckets, are you getting any of the Spider-Man ones?
I don't think I'm getting any of the Spider-Man ones. I am going to get one of the Supergirl ones.
Oh, you're going to get the foreskin one.
That's a cup, actually.
Oh, okay, whatever. You're gonna get the foreskin.
But no, not that one. No.
So
there's one that is it's got like an embossed and engraved version of her
of her logo.
Emblem.
Yeah. And then it's that like see-through. The bucket is like see-through. Yeah.
Yeah, that one just looks really cool to me. So I want that one.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I just wanted to make a joke about that awful foreskin cup, because like
that's a terrible design.
Who okayed it? That? Yeah, exactly.
Like, who approved that?
It's not like one guy made it and one guy okayed it. Like, this has to go through committee. So
yeah,
congrats, guys. I have no idea what we're doing here. But in terms of movies, let's jump over here. Well, that is the wrong one. You guys don't need to see all that. You don't need to see all of us. Firefox, jump over here. Spider-Man Brand New Day. We got our first trailer this week. Obviously, we're just going to let it play here without any audio for some visual. We'll give you just our general thoughts on it, talk about it a little bit. But how should we start off this conversation? I guess I'll ask you outright. What did you think of the trailer?
Overall, it's the strongest of the MCU Spider-Man trailers that they've put out, I would say. And if the tone of the movie actually
Yes.
reflects that of the trailer, then it would be the most Spider-Man movie that they put out as well in the MCU, which isn't saying very much because the bar's set pretty low.
It's set pretty low, but like I think
But so
how would you
far,
put-
this
it would
looks
be
really
like,
good.
To me, if it was good like that, like you are right, the bar is so low as to like, can the MCU do a good Spidey? But this looks like it has the potential to not only be like good Spidey, but then put it up near like Amazing 2. Maybe not Amazing 2, but like closer up towards those guys, right? Like the Toby movies, the Andrew movies. Because, so interestingly, guys, Andrew and I are slightly divided on this trailer. And I don't even know if it's really division so much as it is, I think
levels of anticipation for the movie are
I think the issue is that I'm allowing myself to fall into the hype, even though I know better from watching this trailer. And I think you are rightfully going, I'm not a sucker for that. Like I know better, Andrew, than to fall for a trailer. And
where I'm at is I'm not letting myself be suckered in, but I'm gonna go see it.
Well, we would have done that
and then
anyway,
let the movie do the work. Right. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna give it the clean slate. I'm gonna say, okay, I like where you left Holland's Peter at the end of No Way Home, even though I've hated him up until that point.
That ending of No Way Home, like that last scene where Pete is talking to like the grave of May.
Yeah.
And then nobody remember, and like Happy is there, and he's just like, oh, did you know her or whatever? Like that's fucking, like from there to the sewn suit, like police scanner at home, shitty apart. That's our boy. Like, more than I was like, there he is.
No more Silver Spoon Iron Boy.
None of that crap. No Iron Lad, Spider Lad.
In that regard, I'm looking forward to this movie, and I have enough hope and optimism for them to like follow through on that. There are other things about it that I'm just like, man, and we were talking about this over text. Was it yesterday? Like, I know well enough they were never going to completely move away from Ned and Michelle. I just still don't want to see them anymore. I didn't like the characters while they were here in the first 3 films. And as much as I know already innately, they're not going to move away from them because it's part of his supporting cast in some form or function. I would have liked to not have to deal with them anymore. And I also I am worried based on what we're seeing so far that this is going to run into common, current superhero film syndrome, which is stacking too many characters into this, that's what we criticize Spider-Man 3 so much for, right?
Absolutely.
That's one of the things we criticize Amazing Spider-Man 2 so much for, right? Because they threw too many villains in, or just too many characters in general that are big names. It's like, you guys, pace yourself. What are we doing? We've got Frank, we've got Bruce, and not just Bruce and him being a professor. He is also hulking out in this, right? We've got Scorpion. So now we've seen that. We're dealing with the Hand. Okay. So we're also doing freaking Gang Wars.
I'm like, oh, we got Jean or whoever Sadie is supposed to be.
Whoever Sadie Sink is supposed to be, right? Like, she was wearing like a green and yellow hood type outfit, and I have no idea what the hell she's supposed to be here.
I will give credit to Disney and Marvel for this one point in this production for this movie. They have not let out an image of Sadie that like explicitly confirms like this is, yes, for all intents and purposes, we're thinking Jean. But right now, like nothing they've given us could really definitively put it. Like, even all the behind the scenes are her in that jacket with like the mask on. Yeah. And I'm like, I like good job. You found a way to keep like a little mystery.
Good job keeping it under wraps.
Right,
there's
exactly.
Only a month to go until the movie's out.
And in this environment where we get there's apparently the movie's already been like leaked. Like, it's out there. The whole thing. I haven't found it on any of my Pakistani friends. I mean, there's just no security right now. That movie Hex. Did you see the trailer for that new Disney one with the girl who gets like the magic powers?
Oh, I heard about it. I saw like part of the trailer, and it kind of looked, I don't know, it kind of looked a little interesting. I was like, I can, like, this reminds me of like early 2000s type of a TV show you do, or something
Right.
like that.
So
I'm not against it.
The only reason I bring it up is because that movie also had it. So like earlier this week last week we had a Spider-Man trailer leak, which another props to Marvel. This is not that. Like whether this is a different one or they recut it because it leaked. Kudos to you guys that you actually gave us something that we hadn't seen. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that Hext movie also got like its trailer leaked, and two other. So like something is going on in the.
What's going on
Hollywood
with the
sphere.
entertainment companies? Because what was it? While I was spending time with Mary a couple of months ago, back in April, the new Avatar: Last Airbender animated movie had leaked in its entirety as well. And then now they're just not going to put it in theaters as well. Like I would have gone to see it in theaters even after having already watched it.
I will,
because I genuinely enjoyed it.
Right.
They're just going to throw it up on Paramount Plus. And it's like,
let me tell you, like one of my best friends, my college roommate, who I still talk to all the time, he worked for, like, he was a Disney animator. He was like second, like in command on Wreck-It Ralph 2. He was one of the leads on Moana. Moana's
a good movie.
Moana's so fucking good. It's actually really funny because Wreck-It Ralph 2 released after Moana. And I remember when Moana released, I took a photo of his name in the credits and I put it on my Instagram. And I was like, there's my boy, like first Disney movie. Like so excited to see what you do next. Then Wreck-It Ralph 2 came out and I went back to that post and I tagged him on it and I went, update. I was not excited to see what you did next. But he left Disney to specifically go work for the new Avatar studio, right? Because the Avatar guys went and they made like their own house to make that movie and some other things. He is beyond like hurt and sad and angry at Paramount because they're not doing anything for them.
The animation in that movie is off the chain.
It's insane. And they are not
like everybody. I remember when the Last Airbender series first came out on Nickelodeon, right? Back when I was, I think I was in middle school, late middle school at the time.
Yeah.
If
like
not
14,
maybe
15?
at oldest, maybe a freshman in high school. But when it came out in the early mid 2000s, like everyone was like, wow, this animation's crazy, right? For Western animation. Because they were it was more fluid than we were used to seeing. This blows that out of the water so much. Like it is genuinely a beautiful piece of animation, but it's also just a good Avatar story,
right?
Like it was actually really well done because Mary's a massive Avatar Last Airbender fan, and she loved it. She was like, wow. And she's somebody who like she tolerated the first like half of Korra, and she was like, okay, so there's some interesting things going on here.
It had potential. I liked Amon as a villain. Like that guy was cool.
The thing with Korra ultimately is that it's not the worst thing ever. It's just aggressively mid overall.
Well, I think,
and when you follow up something that's as good as Last Airbender, like genuinely amazing as that, with something that's kind of mid, it feels like it's
gonna
awful.
pale. And I mean, like,
right?
Like, how do you put it? I think Korra is also a case of like, the team didn't have like an executive producer, like nobody was there to kind of keep the reins on them. And you can tell that the second half, when they start kind of leaning into like the romances and all the intrapersonal, like it gets a little too heavy there. And that's where you would have needed somebody to come and be like, guys, you're losing the plot a little bit. All right. Like we don't need an episode or two. We can do this in 15 minutes in this episode here or there. And, but yeah, he's so angry because they don't care. They just went, oh, it's out. We're not going to, like, we don't care about your bonuses or anything. We're just going to throw it up on. So it's a whole big thing. But yes, to the point we were making is that there's something going on with the entertainment industry right now where I couldn't tell you what it is, but there's a problem. And
there's a massive security issue.
Yeah, security issue, or like a, what do you call it? Like an employee satisfaction issue where they're more willing to go like, screw you, I'm going to go leak all this stuff. Either way. But yeah, back to the Spider-Man of it, what we were talking about. So in terms of, you know, stacking all of these characters, I agree with you. I will give you my theory because I think this will ease it a little bit for all of us, which is I think characters like Scorpion and Ned are not going to be as prominent as we would think, right? Like I think Scorpion's going to be. We've already seen all those. Was it the last trailer where we had that montage of like comic covers where like Pete was like fighting the Hand and he was fighting Tarantula? I think it's going to be something like that, right? And then that's going to be the scene where he beats the shit out of him because he's losing himself, and that will be it. I don't think he's going to like. Maybe he comes back at the end as the final bat. Whatever, that'll be a mistake. With Ned, I think they did the right thing with him, right? Where it's like, we have to bring him back. What role do we give this guy? He made a website that tracks Spider-Man because he's interested in Spider-Man. I think that's about all we're going to get from him is like at that party scene, maybe a couple scenes of him hanging just around Michelle, not like centering on him or her. And then maybe like a scene at the end, near the end, where somebody goes to him specifically. Like, you know where Spider-Man is, or like you track him, help me out here. Right. So again, that is me. Maybe that's me coping, but that's also logically, like thinking as a writer, even thinking as like a bad writer, I truly don't know what you could do with Ned more than that. You know what I mean? So yeah, that aside, I think I'm with Andrew on this one. It looks a lot better than everything we've been gotten. Yeah, the trailer looks great.
It's a strong trailer, and it seems to nail the Peter tone very well.
I was telling Andrew, like, there's that scene right here where, like, literally right here, where MJ is like about to kiss Flash because they don't know, and then Spider-Man's getting like that huge Hulk clap, and he's getting like blown away by it. Peter is on the fucking back foot here. Life sucks for him, and that's how it should be. Not this quippy, like you said, Iron Lad Reddit kid. Like, this is Peter. So between those,
but he's never had that. We just started him with the silver spoon.
He right away got his high-tech suit and was invited to fight alongside the Avengers, right? Yeah. And then like his second adventure was there's a goddamn alien spacecraft like landing in the middle of Manhattan. This is the part, you know, like, so Andrew and I talk a lot when we talk about the old, you know, Conway, Lee, all that, you know, the classic Spider-Man stuff. We always make that joke about like, Peter gives off school shooter energy. Like, if you look at that Peter, you're like, oh man, somebody get a counselor for him because he's going to come to school tomorrow. As Andrew said, that is something for him to rise above, that because he starts, you know, I'm for myself. That gets Uncle Ben killed. So he goes, okay, I need to be, you know, great power, responsibility. I need to do this to make up for that. Actually, like, that line doesn't even factor in the original. Like, that is like a movie invention. And Pete just goes like, wow, I feel so bad. I need to absolve myself of the guilt. Like, I need to be responsible with this power. That leads him into his next phase where he's, you know, he's Spider-Man, but he's not the best Spider-Man. You know, there's that fight with Doc Ock where he gets a cold and Doc Ock manages to unmask him. But then he goes like, oh, you're just trying to distract me. Like, you're so weak. You couldn't be blah, 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 blah. But it's in that period that, yes, you have Peter being selfless and always throwing himself into these situations. But there's that other part of it where it's like, he starts getting resentful at everything, even though it's his decision. Right? Like, yes, it sucks, Peter, that you have to decide between going out with Gwen or, you know, being truthful to Aunt May or going to stop Scorpion. It does suck. It does suck that you don't get to pursue everything you thought you were going to in life because you're Spider-Man. The problem, I heard like a noise pop up and now I completely like lost my train of thought. But, oh yeah, so he's resentful about all this stuff. He's supposed, like, that is not the right attitude any of us should have, right? Like, I speak as somebody who I have, as described by my friends and family, like, I have Parker luck in real life. So, like, I get a big string of things go wrong for me in chunks, right? I could sit there and I could go, oh, the world, it's against me. It's like, I'm just, like, God hates me. I can't do anything. Or you can go like, this fucking sucks, but I got to get through it, right? I made this choice. And so that's the maturity point we get from Peter that is sort of sealed with both the death of Gwen and Harry that allows him to go, I need to also think about, like, the human aspect, like the Peter of this, the Mary Jane of this, the Aunt May of this, and we don't get any of the stuff you and I love with the marriage and, you know, any of that without him going through that growth. So to Andrew's point, this is what we need this is what he needed right now, kind of before you did anything else with him. Like if this was any other story about Spidey, we'd just be in bad MCU territory again. But I definitely think, as I told you, like this trailer makes me think somebody on that team somewhere actually likes Spider-Man. And they're going to give us something close to it. I hope. Also, I know you and I also talked about this, but as Angie brought up, right there, the Black Sclera, the monster inside of him. I initially told you, I was like, is that the symbiote? And you went, no, I don't think that's a symbiote. I think that's just like it's a visual representation of like what's going on in him. And I went, oh, duh, it's spider eyes. Like he's just getting, because we're actually doing the other.
It's the blacked out spider eyes. Yeah, that's what it feels like, that we're doing the other. Which
is like, that's not a good story.
It's not. We'll see.
I know.
We'll see if it's one of those rare instances where the movie's better than the book.
And like part of me, honestly, Andrew, wants to go like, you know what? I wouldn't have done it, and I personally don't believe there's a good chance of it. But you went to adapt the other. That takes some level of cojones. You know what I mean? So, yeah, this movie is what, like a month and a half away, or like a month and a week. So we'll see. Like Andrew and I said, it's looking like the best thing we've gotten from Spidey in live action in ever, or not ever, but like in the MCU.
For the MCU,
in the MCU.
Sure,
yeah, that's definitely what I meant. You know, just on that, what would you say before this trailer and everything? What's the most Spidey scene to you in the MCU?
The most Spidey scene?
Like you watch this scene with him and you go, that's my boy.
Civil War.
Closest.
In Civil War, when he's fighting Bucky.
Yep. So I was gonna bring that point, and it's the exact same moment, but just different. Infinity War, when Iron Man's about to get like slugged by Obsidian.
Oh yeah.
And it just stops, and he goes, "Hey there, what are you doing?" Like I was like, "That's him. That's my boy." And then, we're doing our fake names. I'm Spider-Man, and I'm just, oh god, fucking hate that line. I hate that line. So, and then, what's your name? Yeah. Doctor Strange. It's Dr. Octopus. Whatever. I guess the stamp I'll put on this is I hope it's just, I don't expect anything more from this, right? Like, I'm looking at this and I'm going, we may be getting a good Spider-Man adventure. MCU is not saved. That character is not saved. But this is, credit where credit is due, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You already answered him. Zero said, I'm struggling to remember the name of the actor for MCU Peter. Tom Holland. Also, him and Zendaya released a photo recently. It's just them standing next to each other. It's cute. It's sweet. Nothing against it. But it's coming for him. Like, his hairline, like, his peaks are all the way back here. And he's turning, like, massively British. And I'm just like, you guys better wrap up this Peter saga really, really, really fast, or you're gonna have to just adapt Spider-Man Reign. Like, that's all we're gonna have left.
Or I don't know, you're young enough, you've got enough money, just like get it handled.
That too, right? Like, just we have the technology.
Get laser treatment, implants, whatever it is, you can afford it.
Hair technology these days, like, I don't even see baldness as a problem. Like, I see so many hair treatments that are like insanely good. John Cena got like famously, he got hair transplants, and he talks about them all the time.
His hairline was disappearing quick over the course of just like
like it was bad, and he got them, and he talks about like, look, it sucks to admit for everybody, but like your looks do matter for your confidence, and so like I got that for myself so that I could be, and I'm like, I get it, go for it. But yes, Tom,
respect for admitting that.
Exactly. I'm sure Zendaya's got like $900 million she can like spare. That's probably like the change in the middle console, if you will.
I'm sure Tom like has made enough money that he can afford it without asking for help from his wife.
I wonder what their royalties are, especially him, because as soon as they got him and like made Homecoming or Civil War, they were like off to the races with Spider MCU merchandise that uses his likeness. So I'm like, a pretty penny is probably being paid there. Okay, let's see. We talked some brand new day. I guess we'll just go to this because it was literally the next thing that was playing. Andrew, we got a new Supergirl trailer.
We did.
Let's pull up the big board. What do you think about it?
Honestly,
you're our resident super person or girl person.
I'm so afraid because each new trailer that they've put out for this movie has made me more excited for it, and I'm really worried that when I go see it in IMAX, where is it? The 25th, I think, is what my
next
tickets
week,
are for.
yeah.
So I'm seeing
next
on the early
week's
day.
foil variant will be a at least according to our plan, like a out of the theater. Let's talk about this thing.
Yeah, and it looks really fun for me so far, and yes, there's some of the DNA of Woman of Tomorrow in this, but it seems so far, and from what I'm hearing from people that I know that are in the industry and who know people who are actually a part of the project.
Script Doctor!
Yeah, shout out to Script Doctor. Co-host of mine on Tuesday night show for World Class Bullshitters.
Lobo whipping his chain just looks cool. Like, objectively, it looks cool.
Freaking Momoa finally being the character he was born to play, right?
You heard the story about him getting the role for Aquaman, right? Where, like, he tried out, for, like, he was like, I want to be Lobo. He was talking about it while he was on Game of Thrones. And then he went to, or he didn't even audition. They were just like he got a call from Zach. And he's like, I want you to be in my DC movie. And Momoa was like, absolutely, let's do this. And he's like, I'm about to be fucking Lobo. And he went, Aquaman. And Momoa went like, what? He didn't turn it down because he's like, this is a big moment for me. But he's like,
oh, it was a huge
what the hell was that? Like that is
that was
not
one
what
of
I was expecting.
That was like, what, the best or second best performing Snyderverse era
I think
DC
after film? Batman Superman, I think that it's definitely Aquaman 1 is up there. But
like Aquaman 1 made really good money.
It made like $1 billion, but like it went toe to toe with Infinity War, which is insane. Like, just objectively crazy to think that.
Yeah, it
it's
did great
fucking
numbers.
Aquaman.
But he was born to play Lobo. That's what we need him to be. And I'm glad he's finally getting that opportunity. I'm excited, honestly, so far. And I really hope that the good stuff that I'm seeing in the trailers isn't the only good stuff in the movie, because the trailers seem to be nailing just a little bit of the fun that should be present in a super film. Like if you're dealing with any member of the super family, but also having that little bit more of a Supergirl edge to it.
Again, guys, I've seen a lot of people complain, Andrew, like, why is Supergirl so edgy? Why is she so dark? Like that line about, like, my cousin sees the good in everyone and I see the truth, and everybody's like,
y'all did not read Supergirl.
You didn't read that? You know how I know you didn't read any Supergirl? Peter David's run, when she fused. Okay, so first, she dies in Crisis, which is was an insane moment.
Yeah, original Supergirl died in Crisis on Infinite Earths. Yeah,
and then we had a fucked up like body horror story about the Matrix like goo, and then when she fuses with Linda, we learn like Linda Danvers was like dating a Satanist and like killed people and was and that made Supergirl currently like under attack from demonic forces. This is Supergirl's always been like this guy. I don't know what to tell you fans. She's not Superman. Never has been. Like fundamentally, remember, Superman on Earth, Kara on Krypton in Argo. So and big difference there.
The more time she spends around Clark, the more like him she becomes in terms of having more of that compassion and that part of her character growing. But she's still fundamentally not Clark. There's still a harder edge to her than we see in Clark. That's just how the character is.
Kara would do a Batman scare tactic on a guy, right? Like she would take him up in the air and be like, I'll drop you. I'll fucking do it. Superman would never. But Kara...
Well, yeah, because she's not Superman.
Exactly what I'm getting at. So...
You're right. Superman wouldn't. But Kara would.
Kara absolutely would. Power Girl even more, because that's like a jaded Supergirl, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, Andrew. I know you were watching for a little bit last week while you were out at SpaceCon, or rather when you were, back home from SpaceCon relaxing. Did you hear anything I said about Supergirl last week?
I did not.
Okay. So the director of this movie, whose name currently escapes me, he did an interview with, I believe it's the Hollywood Reporter, and he basically told them he didn't read Woman of Tomorrow. Like, he didn't want, because so what he said is like, I didn't want to just do the comic, so I let, what's her name, Ann Nagura, who's writing it, I believe that's her name, like, I got her script, I just went off of that script. And then afterwards, I went and I read Woman of Tomorrow, and I took visual, like, information into it, right? Like I took little bits here to make you remember, like, oh, this is the story, but this is not a one-to-one adapt. And I went, I fucking
This is one of those moments where we're like,
I fucking knew it. Yes, right? I was like, I knew
it's not a one-to-one.
And like I think you were on the show when I said it, but I was like, did Gunn only, because we were talking, like, it feels not like the comic. Like, it feels like we're very much diverging when we saw the last trailer. And then we were whatever
it
show
seems
it was,
way more fun and earnest than the comic.
I asked you, remember? I was like, did Gunn only adapt this because he it has a built-in animal gets hurt scene and we all feel bad where Crypto gets shot? Because that's it happens in the comics and it happens here. Yeah. So I'm just like, whatever, guys. I say whatever you want to say in the marketing at this point. If you truly didn't go for an adaptation of that, I'm fucking here. Like, let's go. Like, let's go. Like, I'm excited. I like Millie Alcock as Kara.
I'm excited for her performance. I'm excited for her performance. I hope she knocks it out of the park, and I think she will, at least based on these trailers.
Absolutely. Yeah, she's a great Kara. I'm gonna be excited to see her when she eventually teams up with everybody, or like gets in not a team up thing per se, but maybe like an ensemble adventure.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, she also looks specifically like a live action adaptation of Bilkis, like of her Supergirl, right?
Who,
like of her art.
Again, another case of like, why do you keep putting good, amazing artists with the worst
with
writers?
Tom King?
With
like,
Tom King especially.
Stop. Just please, for the love of God, stop.
I wonder if DC, do you think, like, I wonder if DC sells it as an opportunity for the artist or an opportunity for Tom King? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know,
like,
man.
come on, work with Tom King. You're going to get a big career boost. And I'm like,
work with Tom King, who got booted off of Batman 20 issues early because he dropped in sales so badly because everybody hated it.
It was really, really bad. Oh, so bad. But speaking of good comics, let's jump to some more news. Very, very quick hits. Brand new day in Supergirl were the main things we wanted to discuss. But first, big news. DC continues kicking ass. They have announced a young reader specific line of compact books, and these are not garbage. Like, these are actually solid.
Me. I'm young readers. I'm getting all of these.
I'm getting every single one of them, not just because I, got to support. I mean, did you get it this week, Andrew? I mean, we both
Under the Red Hood. I did not.
Dude,
I did not. I'm gonna get it next week.
Look at this fucking thing.
I know it's huge,
it's
right?
It's so big. It's crazy. But yeah,
imagine how large Crisis on Infinite Earth's
that's exactly what I had.
Going to be.
That was the next bit of this
12
news,
issues,
which was we're getting a good line of like direct to kid reader compacts, which is going to take the already amazing compact system and just like Andrew and I talk about it all the time, the accessibility issue. You can't find comic books. You can't afford comic books.
But these you can find in stores.
And DC says we're going to do something about it. So they're going to have that whole kids line. And they announced today, I'm sure there's going to be more announcements coming down the pipe. This one just came from George Perez's personal estate. Crisis on Infinite Earths is getting a compact, which I'm beyond excited for. Like, this is the story. You know what I mean?
Which means now, after they've done this, they need to go through the rest of the big timeline reset events, which means, unfortunately, they're going to have to do 0 Hour, but then they're also going to need to do Infinite Crisis, then they're going to need to do Final Crisis.
I'm cool with them doing that, because then it's like a very easy, like, here's your Crisis trilogy, right? Like, Crisis, Infinite, Final. Cool, get those ones, but I also agree with you. Like, we're going to start getting
trilogy and a half, because 0 Hour is like half of a
Well,
crisis.
Do you want to just make it 4? Do you just want to make it 4 and make it 0 Hour / dark?
No, we don't talk about that one. DC doesn't even talk about that one. They even just put out a big fat omnibus of the Dark Crisis saga, and nobody's talking about it. And you know this because you've been reading comic books with me in current DC continuity. Dark Crisis isn't something that is carried forward. Nobody talks about it.
I cannot think of a
Zero
single
impact.
plot point that a couple weeks ago, or maybe like a month or two, sometime in 2026, I know you and I saw in a DC book, like Diana specifically mentioned her whole, like, I made everything canon, right? Or they were like, you achieved that state, and this is the next challenge.
But the thing is, that was
and that's from Dark Metal. That's what I'm saying, though, is like, even recent events are having these things like referenced. Not even the Shazam power or the Black Adam power share has ever been mentioned again, which is
where has Black Adam
crazy.
even been? I think they put him like back in the closet or something like that after the abysmal performance of the movie. They were just like, we're gonna try and have people forget that he's a thing for a little while.
He's like now that he's around, but he's just he's just a king of Kahndaq right now. Like, he's not anywhere. He's just
I guess
sort of
that's
like
fine.
NPC, if you will, right? Like, you can't really.
Yeah.
It's either that or, do you remember in the Jeff Johns JSA run when they changed his magic word?
I don't remember them changing it.
Yeah, so that was one of the big so they got in a big fight. So World War III, right? Like after Infinite Crisis. When so after that fight, the way they finish him, I forget, it's either Zatanna or Captain Marvel. They mess with the magic so that when he says like Shazam, it doesn't work anymore. So they go, we won't kill you. You're still Black Adam. Bye. And so he was like, what? Like, I can't believe it. And it was like 5 years that they didn't talk about him. Like, he didn't have his powers. And you would see him occasionally like trying and nothing. Then there's a scene where he's like, I just fucking give up. Like, I don't know. Like, not like he's going to kill himself, but he's just like, I'm at the end of my rope. Like, what? I've tried. Like, he literally has a dictionary and he's going through it, trying to say every word to find what it is in multiple languages. Goes to a diner in Fawcett and he's like, what? Like, they're like, what do you have? He's like, what's the best thing you guys have here? And they're like, we serve a mean chocolate egg cream. And he goes, all right, I'll have one chocolate egg cream. And he's like, Billy, you Boy Scout. He's like, Billy, you innocent little child. It's one of my favorite moments. I genuinely
don't remember that.
Yeah, I'll find it afterwards, and I'll post it on the Foil Variant Twitter as well, because it's a very good moment. And yeah, it's Jeff Johns. But yes, I don't know if they'll get there. We're gonna get Dark Knight's Metal, I think like next month as a compact. Is that the last stop before Dark Crisis? Or no, Death Metal, I guess, is probably the last stop. Death Metal
would be the last stop, so, and I'm good without that one.
That's what I mean.
Okay,
it's like
if they
made a compact of like the last acceptable one. Like, they started there, and now they're going to the beginning.
That had anything to do with Death Metal wasn't even one of the main event issues. It was the Speed Metal tie-in, and that was only badass because you had Wally, you had Barry, you had Jay. You also had Wallace. Not really.
Yeah, exactly. I knew.
Like, the fact that you had those three all together again for the first time in ages.
And you know what? And you gave Jay an alternate outfit. Like, whenever you guys do team ups and shit, you just see Jay in his normal suit, and it's like, I'll get you into the Speed Force, or like, I'll hold down the fort here. But they gave him like chains, and it was like, oh shit, we're metaling it. Yeah, woo.
Yeah.
So again,
I have all 4 of those action figures,
which are very cool. I will admit that. Someday you're gonna have to get a display where they're up, or something. All right. So Crisis coming, gonna be great. DC kicking Marvel's ass up and down the board with this initiative. Fucking crazy to me. So with that, let's jump over to a quick bit of Spider-Man news. We got 2 bits of Spider-Man news. The first is, I don't know if you saw this. First off, brand new cover from Alex Ross for the upcoming Amazing Spider-Man 1000, which recreating that, lifting the thing off for Aunt May's cure. He still got it. That's all I really want to say. You can't not go wrong.
He's still got it.
I will
say that I have a
I know what you're going to say. I know, but
the face,
say it, but
man.
Fucking knew that because it bugs me.
It doesn't look like he's wearing a mask the way that it's hugging his face.
This is another thing I will give the MCU credit for. Have you seen the masks they make Holland wear? Like, it actually has like a solid piece in the front, so that when he puts it on, it doesn't like go like that.
Doesn't just hug everything,
right?
Yeah.
So it looks like his face, and I'm like,
I mean, well, the live action masks have all looked good since the Raimi films, honestly. I'll give them that much credit.
I would say probably Garfield's second one, like his actual Spider-Man suit.
I mean, that's the best one.
Well, it's the best one, but I would also say that was the one that was the tightest in the face. You can see his nose a little prominently in that suit.
You can see it a little more prominently.
But it's not this.
Yeah, but it's not that. It's not where it's literally just second skin.
Right, exactly. So I just wanted to show off that Alex Ross cover.
Otherwise, really great Alex Ross painting. You know,
I'm really excited for that Dimensions.
The Pepe Larraz one that they showed off earlier.
Pepe one was good. I don't know if I'll pick any of them up because I'm already angry at this issue, as we'll get into. But the other thing that they announced with this is that Peach is finally going to do like an actual sequential Spider-Man story written by Frank Miller, which is we'll see with him. He literally goes either way these days. But like full Peach Spider-Man, I just wanted to show it. Like, I'm beyond excited for that. I am very ready for that.
As you should be.
Final piece of news. I don't know how much we'll spend on this. There's just one specific thing I want to get really mad about. So yesterday we got the announcement that Marvel has teamed up with the USA Today for a new Spider-Man Today series, which will be a weekly series running for the next like 48 weeks. I don't know why they didn't do 52, whatever, but it will be exclusively available through the like USA Today app and everything. They've also got into a partnership with Marvel for digital comic distribution. So like if you're a USA Today subscriber, you can get, free access to Marvel Unlimited. On its face, I'm actually like locking this behind the USA Today is weird. I'm not going to lie. You know me though, Andrew. Like, I love my weekly comics if you can pull it off right?
Yeah.
Your 52s, your Batman Eternals. So the creative team, Al Ewing and Todd Nauck, who I have a lot of faith in, that if any current Marvel writer could do it, it's going to be like him and Hickman. Hickman's busy, so they gave it to Ewing. The other main thing I wanted to bring up is twofold here. One, I hate I need Nick Lowe to go away. Like, this is, for those of you who haven't seen
I'm not
this,
one to wish violence or physical ill upon another human being, but he makes it really hard.
Well, this is here's my problem with him, is that he keeps he's making himself the face of Spider-Man. Like, whenever you talk about, like, there's a Spider-Man tie-in coming or a Spider-Man movie, they go to Lowe to talk about it. And whatever, okay, he's the editor. But then you have him, like, you and I talked about the Superman Day picture where Jorge Jimenez,
where he tried to make it all about him,
where it's like beautiful man god Jorge, and then he puts on the like really gross like, haha, it's not a good costume, isn't that funny joke? And it's like, no, it's not, because at the end of the day, you are still responsible for what is happening right now. You are responsible for the fact that Pete has still, like, his marriage is still property of the devil.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it doesn't matter what religion you follow. That's insane. Like, no, what are we doing here? So if you go look up the USA Today announcement, not only is it riddled with, like, there's like 3 different photos of him in here, as if he is the main subject of this new comic, right? And there's also like a video on that page of him singing like he's playing an acoustic guitar and singing some dumb song about like, yeah, we're coming to USA Today, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it makes me furious that this man continues to like ride Spider-Man's coattails, because you've done nothing. Asking completely honestly, what in Lowe's run with Spidey have any of us truly liked? I know you and I keep going like, oh, that was a neat bit. That part was cool.
Well, yeah, good writers will have,
That's exactly what I was gonna
an
say.
interesting or cool bit happen every now and then. even in this garbage era for Spidey, you know, and that's more just a credit to like, hey, you managed to have a good hand at the moment of cards, right? And so you managed to have a cool scene or present an interesting idea, but it never gets to go
player,
anywhere.
not the casino owner, right?
Yeah.
Like that poker player just took everybody for $3 million. I don't give a shit about the casino owner who let him play. I want to know about the player. So first off, just Nick Lowe does not deserve this, and it is like aggravating that he continues to try to make himself the face of Spider-Man. Second, for those watching, if you want to zoom in, I don't know how legible it is over on your side, but I copied a bit of the article here because he does describe the goal of this comic. And I just want to, I'm going to read it to you, Andrew, and just bear with me. So,
am I going to get angry?
Oh, yes, you are.
Of course I am.
It is important to Lowe that Spider-Man today be, quote, the easiest springboard, unquote, possible for comics curious new readers. Because Marvel has been publishing Spidey comics since 1962. Amazing Spider-Man number 1000 is coming this September. Lowe is frequently asked where newbies should begin. Quote, it can be intimidating to a new reader. With Spider-Man today, we wanted to make sure that a new reader could pick this up, start here, and not feel left out. So we will hold your hand through it. In fact, you see parts of Spider-Man's origin in each issue as we go through there, and then other characters' origins as we get beyond just this first arc. We wanted to make sure that this entry-level comic was a welcome mat saying, come on in, the water's fine. The reason I highlight this...
The water's not fine!
Well, the reason I highlight this is that this is the exact same fucking strategy you guys have been taking with 616 Spider-Man, right? We got to make sure it's easy for people to jump in and relate to him.
Every new number one is resetting his status quo back to the same old BS.
That's what I mean. So, like, again, on its, like objectively, the idea of, okay, it's the USA Today, we're getting all these readers, we're gonna, you know, revisit some things, we're gonna start easy. Makes complete sense. But to say, like, oh, the other comics are so intimidating to get in, first of all, no.
The only thing that's intimidating about them is how intimidatingly bad they are.
That really is it. You tell somebody, oh, I love Spider-Man, I'd love to read the comics. Can you deal with art from like 2005? Because that's probably as far back as we're going to have to go for this one. And yeah, it aggravates me because, again, Marvel hates Spider-Man. So that's the reason I wanted to bring it up. Just screw Lowe and screw this idea that Spider-Man needs to be like made easily accessible, and then also comics. Because guys, Andrew and I say it all the time, and I'm going to reiterate it again, the honest to God truth, if you want to get into comics, find one and pick it up. That's literally, you find a character you like. Yes, okay, you might go, oh, I want to read Supergirl. Oh, it's issue 128. That's weird. But guess what? If you read that comic, the magic of this medium is you read that and you go, huh, what is that reference to? What does she mean? Argo City, right? And you just go and...
Supergirl is actually a very easy character to get into. All you have to do is start with this, which gives you her origin. Yeah, it slightly leans on events that happen in Public Enemies. That's fine. It gives you enough information in the beginning of this that you don't actually need to go back and read Public Enemies.
Because really I only need that first part. You only need that.
I read this first because I'd gotten out of comics for a couple of years. And so I read this first and I was like, oh man, I love this, right? Because I love Supergirl and I love Michael Turner's art. And then I was like, what was that event they were talking about that happened before?
And
you know, and then I went back and read Public Enemies.
The only real reference to that event is at the very beginning.
Yeah, it's like the first 3 or 4 pages.
When they're like, Batman, what are you doing? And he's like, well, when Lex blew up the kryptonite meteor, it rained down shards, so I'm trying to collect. That's it. That's it. All
and need... Superman being under house arrest.
Okay, but they only mention that like once, and then he's hanging out with Kara, all right? And then he's fighting Darkseid. So whatever. But
and then after that, you just go straight into this.
It's very easy.
That's it.
And that's the thing, guys. It is not that hard to get into comic books. As fans, I think you and I can admit that they get weird with their volume and their numbering, and that can get a little confusing, right? Like, again, they're currently publishing Batman Volume 3 at the same time as Batman Volume 2, right? Like, what are we doing? I admit that's hard. Not insurmountable, dude. Like if 12, 11-year-olds can do this, I believe in you. That's not a message to our readers or our viewers, because I know you guys are all good about it, but just to the general audience that thinks that comics are this big monster that they can't beat, conquer. I don't know the right word that I'm trying to use here.
No, they're not the hardest thing to get into, honestly. That's a misnomer. It's one of those things that I think people who largely don't actually read comics tend to promulgate that
I
narrative.
think so too.
As you said, it can be difficult at face value just with like the different volumes, right? And sometimes they'll reset and do a new number one, but then they'll add the legacy numbering, right? And it's like, okay, that is confusing enough as it is, for sure. But if we're just going by the storytelling, there are so many good jumping on points for the vast majority of characters. Certainly the big characters that people mostly care about, that you're going to, be more attractive to your normie audience, right? Your Spider-Mans, your Batmans, your Superman, all of those. Those are easy to jump into. Sometimes it does just require one person who does already know to just tell you, okay, what character you want to jump into? They say Batman. Okay, so jump in here, 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 or here.
That is an amazing mention you just made, because in support of what you were going to say, is I was going to recall, like, guys, when I was 14, getting back into like seriously reading comics, the guy at the shop, he went, "What do you like? Who do you like?" And I went, "Well, I watched the Justice League cartoon. I like Smallville." And he goes, "Read this. Let me know what you think."
Speaking of Smallville, Mary and I are now halfway through season 5.
Oh, dude, you're ramping it. You're like in the best parts, and it's about
now we have Brainiac, and we're going to get into Zod soon.
And then you're going to get into Justice Society, and it falls apart.
There's so much good stuff coming.
There's good stuff, but it also starts falling apart. Like
there's some rough
stuff
in season 6.
Yeah,
season 6 has some low points for sure.
But yeah, whatchamacallit, the comic book shop owner asked me what I liked. He said, "Here, read this." He handed me Infinite Crisis #1. Think about that, guys. Like, on its face, you're handing a new comic reader the second entry in a DC reset your entire continuity story. But as Andrew said, the guy knew his stuff, and he went, "This is what I know the book, I know what's happening. This can happen." Right? Like this will be a good spot. Maybe it is, maybe not. And that's why he, let me try out a bunch of different books. But honestly, just get in there, pull a book, and take it away. Let's see. Mary is finally here. This is, "Where did I find such a handsome man to help you host?" Honestly, this is like a Make-A-Wish type of thing, right? Like I'm an ugly, lonely, like dying child, and Andrew's handsome face is here to, make me feel better before I go into the beyond.
I don't know what answer I was expecting, but it wasn't that.
And then Mary says, "You know what? Tell me why I feel like Mav looks like a male version of Lana. We're both half. That's why. We're both half Asian, which is where we get away with it."
That might be it.
Man, I used to be so in love with Lana. But, all right, Andrew, that's about, I think we've hit a lot of news. I am going to revisit the story really quick before we move on, but thank you, NetEase. Anyway, Andrew, where would you like to go? I know...
Yes, Mary, now that you're in the chat, make sure you update Marvel Rivals, because Cloak and Dagger have their...
swimsuit ones.
Their swimsuit new
and
skin.
Peter and Mr. Fantastic, and everybody's got it. But...
Sue's came back. Hers is back temporarily. Right? Of course, you already had that one.
I got it, and I got the, what do you call it? Like the
all the
color
different
edits.
variants.
Yeah, get out of my face. What are we doing here? But all right, guys. So obviously, Andrew and I spent the good hour and a half here on the show talking about the week's news. That is because, as I said, near the top, even for us, it was an exceptionally light week on things to talk about, right? And I mean,
it was a light 2 weeks.
A very light 2 weeks, and even the books that we did get, not a lot happened, right? Like, I read more than you this week. Like, I read Long Way Home. I read that What If Thor book. I read My Imperial Guardians.
Oh, is that the one where, like, what if he got the symbiote?
Yeah. Which is like...
Who drew it?
Who did draw it? Let's see. I just pulled it up. It is this
Because I've only seen a cover for it.
Sergio Davila. Like it's actually not bad art. Like I actually
That's solid.
Yeah, it's pretty solid art. Marvel's recent What If efforts, interestingly enough, I feel have gotten back to like the root of like what ifs are supposed to be. There was that period for a while where it was just like, what if Peter Parker was Captain America? What if Sam Wilson was a mutant? And it's like nothing has changed except for where like what their first fight is. But now we're getting into like what if this thing happened differently? And I actually like the setup for this one, Andrew. It is Secret War, obviously, and Pete. So the setup is like Thor needs a new costume too, just like Peter did, and just like I forget who the other person was that got one right before him. I think Johnny. But in this What If, Spidey he gets to the machine, like he actually uses it. So like Thor goes to the symbiote holding chamber, and I'm like, hey, that's clever. I like that, right? Like simple little twist there. And then then Spidey makes a quip here where Hulk stabs Thor to like try and test the strength. It breaks this knife, and Spidey's like, where do I get a suit like that? And it's like da 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 da.
Yeah.
But that's all. The covers are done by Lucas Wernick, who is fantastic.
Really good. Yeah.
I mean,
Lucas is great.
Ever since that X-Men, honestly, the only good Age of Revelation series, that Unbreakable X-Men, right? Like he did that one, and he was great on that. And
that one was good because it was focused on Gambit and
Rogue,
like a really interesting, angle and progression on Gambit too.
And like Rogue Galactus, that was beyond bonkers. But an interesting note I just want to add here, because I meant to actually mention this a second ago. Lucas Wernick and surprisingly Todd Nauck are like the point people for Marvel's art in their Magic the Gathering sets, which is very interesting to me. Because like Lucas didn't have he did some covers before they gave him the assignment to do a lot of the Spider-Man and Marvel stuff. And then Todd is like he's been here. And the only the reason Todd kind of like raises my eyebrow is I feel like he's finally getting his due for whatever reason. Like they're tapping him as the backup artist for the Venom things, right? Or the Spider-Man things. And he's always around. And then he does the Marvel set. And then he does Spider-Man Today. And it's not a complaint. I'm very happy for him. I'm just like, all right, go Todd, right?
How about just like put him on a normal book?
They
put him on an ongoing.
Why would Marvel do anything that would be quality? Like just Clone Geek, I don't know if you're still here. I'm gonna take a page out of your book, and it's like, what's wrong with these guys? The DC Kids Compact thing to me is like that combo with the combo.
That's like 500 IQ choice with
there. Williamson and then Hayden Sherman on Legion of Super. Like you got Marvel is done right now. Like there's nothing.
Yeah, they're eating Marvel's lunch.
Nothing. All Marvel is doing.
DC, you want to eat Marvel's lunch even more? Give Todd Nauck an exclusive contract, get a different writer for Supergirl, and let Todd draw it.
That, dude, after like Young Justice style Kara, fuck it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, get somebody who specifically wants to bring back the fun in Supergirl, right?
And I think Todd would be a perfect.
Keep Sophie Campbell on as like an editor.
That's what we always say. She's amazing, an amazing repository of knowledge and understanding of how things work.
Right, where Sophie could like give some notes of like, hey, this would be a good instance to like slide in this little lore bit.
Yeah,
here.
right. Like, this is where you should
somebody else handle the writing.
Like, yeah, what is it? It's like where it's like plotting by like Sophie or whatever, and then you get like script by like the other person, however it goes. But so on that note, Andrew, we got a little bit. I feel like we really only have 2, maybe 3 books to talk about. Absolute Flash is the third one I'm thinking of, but even then, I think it's more just you and I going, okay, things are
like
getting
better direction.
Better.
Well, because here's the thing, like the bulk of a good conversation to have is an Absolute Batman. Absolute Flash, there's not much to talk about, but like what there is like, hey, it's actually kind of moving in a better direction and doing something at least I'm kind of like, oh, that's actually kind of interesting. Like, because what sets this book apart or at least as a potential to set it apart, is the Grodd dynamic. Like that's a huge
Absolutely.
change. You throw this little Grodd into this equation, a lot changes. The whole dynamic changes, and
Well,
that's really
he's
interesting when they're leaning into that.
like, remember, this is the Omega universe, right? Like,
Yeah.
we are at its core, everything revolves and ends in Darkseid. And I think in addition to like in the sense of the whole book, you have young Wally here, and like now you have young Linda, who I think is like, that's the foil you needed. Like, let Wally be scared, but then you need that other voice to be like, get your butt in gear, right? Like, could have been anybody. Linda was a good choice. But with Grodd and Wally,
and they kind of made her like, they almost kind of made her like guy in the chair type of character, but more active, if that makes sense. Because she's got that techie vibe going on with her.
But it's never like, it doesn't feel that formal, and it's not like Wally asks her for. She's just like, I want to do this. Like, she even gets mad at Wally. She's like, that was like, I'm still mad that you left me behind on this dangerous mission, right? And it's like, yeah, I know. So, but with like the Grodd, the Linda, the Wally, what you have here is a unique opportunity for like the heart, the light to be in this universe, which would make sense with Speed Force and all that stuff. Like, Grodd right here is being that every time we've seen Grodd and Wally interact, Wally is kind of like, he's under pressure, he freaks out, and Grodd's there like, no, I'm your friend. Like, we're okay. And it brings him back, and it lets him go like, all right, I have something to protect now. Like, that's the entire reason they're out here, is because Grodd was like, help me, like, Wally. So I definitely think the writing is like, it's getting better. I'm not ready to say like, oh, this book's finally good, but I see the sprouts. I see the sprouts.
Books that I'm reading for sure,
right?
by
like,
a long shot.
Oh, easily. But where there was once like a dead garden, I'm now seeing sprouts. So I'm like,
right. And you got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
Right?
And like you said, I think the art changed to something a little more anime and loose. Perfect choice. And then now that we have like a plot going that isn't just like, what's going on every 5 minutes, I think now we're moving a little bit.
I'm gonna say this: if this issue hadn't been at least as interesting as it was, this book was probably getting culled from my pull list. After this week.
It's the summer of thin ice. Like,
it's the summer of thin ice, man. Dude, it's just like more books are just not doing it for me. And so like, if this book hadn't like picked up the pace just the little bit that it did this week,
that it did, yeah,
I would have been like, yeah, I'm good.
When I went to go open this book, I accidentally pulled my copy of like 13 or 12, which is like the last issue that Robles did proper, and it's the one where like Wally talks to Dibney, like Ralph Dibney, and then him and Linda first like run away. And I opened it and I went, oh no, they had such potential, and now we're just back to no. And then I was like, wait, I feel like I've read this before. And then I was like, oh, thank God, it's not the new one. I opened it, Hanning, and I was like, all right, thank God. Shinkai says, first of all, what's up, Shinkai? He says, Little Grodd reminding me of a Beast Boy transformation.
A little bit.
Maybe there will be something there. He could even have a Starro connection with his freaking like head up like that, right?
Oh, yeah.
But that is Grodd. So, Andrew, the two books that I know you and I would majorly talk about, Amazing Spider-Man, Absolute Batman. I would say we go into Batman now, but that's a good book, so I don't know if you want to end on a good book.
Let's end on the good book, because in truth, there isn't actually that much to say about Amazing Spider-Man. There's a couple of points to just be like, what are we even doing here right now? Right? So, like, why are we here? Why are we letting this happen?
And that is kind of like the central point here is like, why are we here? So if you guys remember, as soon as we got out of the death spiral crap, like outright crap, we're now in this plot of Peter Parker's cousin knows he has a family and yada yada yada. It's Aunt May and Uncle Ben's lost son. Whoa, where did he come from? And so, like, I look at this cover.
Somebody pulled him out of their ass. That's where he came from.
I mean, look at this cover. Like, I keep locking on this cover, Andrew, because like, okay, it's Gleason. Gleason did great. Technically nothing wrong with like the line art or whatever, right? But like, it's so boring. It just says The Talk, which like we've had 90 of those like The Talk. My favorite one is the one in the J. Michael Straczynski run, where like he comes clean and she hugs him and she goes home like right after that talk and unsubscribes from the Daily Bugle because she knows like I won't let you talk shit on my nephew. And so like this idea of like pulling you in, communicating excitement. I look at this cover and I'm just like, it's not there. It doesn't even communicate the drama of like I had a lost kid or something, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is just draw Spider-Man with Aunt May and Uncle Ben. If you were doing like an Aunt May and Uncle Ben miniseries, this would be cover 1, like cover A on the first issue. So
this is not good, amazing Spider-Man cover composition.
Which is crazy because we've admittedly like had some pretty good ones in recent, even if the contents were really bad, they're still putting decent artists on the cover. But so this issue is essentially sliced into 2 sections. And one is the talk with Aunt May, her son, Peter, and everybody. And the other, as Andrew and I mentioned before, is about 3 pages of Spider-Man story, right? So I'm going to just comment on the Spider-Man story here first, because you put, like we were saying, you put Patrick Gleason on a Spider-Man book and you let him draw maybe, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages of this book are like letting Gleason play to his strengths, which is action and excitement and that kind of stuff.
He's got a very dynamic paneling and style.
It really works for Spider-Man. Like I truly think he's a good Spider-Man artist. And so in what happens here, and this is like, I'm so puzzled by this, Andy, because I just go like, what the fuck?
I don't even know what's happening in this section. He just randomly goes to this underground place. That's like an underground like New York City villain fight club, and he's
the prizes
fighting.
Well, like
he's trying to like get Shocker's gauntlets.
Well,
I guess
that's the thing. So what Andrew's explaining here, and I'm just as confused as he is we open this Spidey part of the story is he goes to this underground club where all the supervillains are hanging out, and it's essentially like instead of bidding money on old supervillain gear, as we've seen happen many times in Marvel Comics or whatever, they like villains are allowed to have a cage match for it, right? So right here they we open cold open on a fight over the Trapster Paste Pot Pete's like equipment between the Ox and Tarantula. And Andrew, that's who I said was like, oh hey, neat, he's still here, good for you.
Yeah, he's
Ox.
still around.
Yeah, I don't know where Fancy Dan or Montana are, but one of the enforcers is still around. And I knew he would get his ass kicked, but I was still just like, oh, nice to see you, buddy. Like, you're still here. And yeah, as Andrew was mentioning, Spidey arrives at this club specifically to fight for the Shocker's gauntlets, which, as you guys remember, got ripped off of him by Torment in Death Spiral right before he killed him. I'm stuck here because I don't know what else to say. Like that, we don't know why. I don't know
how they wound up here.
We don't know. This is a new thing. Like this is a new club environment thing, and we don't know how Spidey found it. We don't know anything, and we just leap into, I'm here to take the Shocker's gauntlets back. And they go, why those? And he's just like, because I respect him, or who fucking knows? I mean, that's what I'm assuming. It's like, I have some respect or care for, like he said in Death Spiral, like he's not like a bad guy. He was just kind of an idiot. So
yeah, made some bad decisions.
Yeah. And then we get a new Vulture look, and he comes into the arena, and I was actually kind of surprised by this, Andrew, that as Spidey enters his cage match with Vulture, Ray is there. And she's like, hey, I'm ready to fight. I genuinely didn't expect it to be her. Let's see, there was somebody, I thought, because down here, that's where you see her first, in that, silhouette. I'm zooming in. Hi, Tombstone. But like that silhouette, I thought it was Teresa.
No.
Because we're doing all this family bullshit. I was like, oh my God, is that Teresa Parker?
Oh, yeah.
And if you're doing like that stylized thing with like, that's how the red eyes could make sense. So I was like, oh, all right. But then equally good of a surprise, I would say. Like, I'm not mad that it's Ray, but I definitely had
I actually like Ray as a character.
I do too.
Like, she's one of the few interesting things that's come out of this run thus far.
Which is saying
it's a low bar,
yeah,
I know.
Yeah. But so that the Spidey element of this is just weird. Like, it just is disconnected and doesn't make sense. The A plot, I guess you could call it, is, as we said, Aunt May's recollection of, you know, having the kid, having Mac, I think his name is, and then like giving him up. It just, it doesn't add anything. And it's just like, I don't know, Andrew. Maybe you can help me with my words here. Cause it's just like, I don't care. It's not
Amazing
good.
Spider-Man
It doesn't add
feels
anything.
Well, Amazing Spider-Man feels so directionless right now, and I think a lot of that does have to do with the editorial office and how much they are hamstringing whoever is writing the book at a given time. And so then the writers are forced in between a rock and a hard place where they're not allowed probably the creativity that they actually want, but they're allowed like a bunch of creativity as long as it's anything other than the thing that they actually want to do, which I think anybody that's getting onto Spider-Man at this point wants to be that guy that puts MJ and Peter back together. I think unless you're a complete retard, that's what you want to be known for. I'm the writer who fixed Peter and MJ, right?
And honestly, I think it's gotten to a point that that title, like that pride, doesn't even matter to people anymore, right? They're just like, somebody needs to fucking fix this.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's me, whether it's, you know, Al Ewing, like Marvel needs to let somebody do this. So like you have Nick Spencer try, and then now you have Ewing and Carlos doing their thing. And I think we've said it before, but like the only people who still subscribe to this doctrine of like Spider-Man is youth and Spider-Man is relatability are Brevoort and Lowe. Unfortunately, they're the ones with the keys to the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And we all just have to play by their rules.
So we all just get to suffer for it.
You didn't read it, but I think I shared the pages with you. Last year, J. Michael Straczynski did those like 6 one-shots, right? That were just like, like Captain, Dr. Doom and Rocket Raccoon. And then the last one was Spider-Man versus like the Sinister Six. And it was that story about him. Remember, he gets like an invite to a really fancy restaurant and he goes with MJ, but then all the supervillains and other superheroes show up because the guy was like, we could, you know, get them to fight and then we can cash in on the insurance. That story like has Peter and MJ together, and it ends with them like, you know, no matter what, like, I'll always love the city and I'll always love you. And it's just that, you know, giant middle finger. Hickman over in Ultimate, like everybody wants it. Nobody will give it to it. Instead, we get what, a 16 pages of, let me tell you about your lost, like, it doesn't even, I don't know, man.
This goes back to what I was just saying, where writers are hamstrung in that they're not allowed to do probably the one thing that every Spider-Man writer wants to do. And so now they're just having to pick and just like throw spaghetti at the wall, right? And just be like, what the hell? Yeah, something new. But right now, unfortunately, to Joe Kelly's not credit, he seems to keep picking things that reframe or alter Peter's past, or alter the past of characters very close to him, like the thing Norman, with the best friend, and you know, and Brian, kind of making Peter. Like, yes, when Peter was first introduced in Amazing Fantasy 15, and even when we go into Amazing Spider-Man 1, he's a bit of a brat, right?
That's what I mean. Like, don't show up tomorrow.
He's actually not that much of a likable person, but he's also a middle teenager in those, right? And he's had multiple years of whatever, getting picked on, getting overlooked, what have you, right? You can look at that and say, okay, I can see how somebody might have a bit of a chip on their shoulder. Sure. All right, fair enough.
Right.
But when you go back, you know, 3, 4, or even 5 years prior to him being even younger, and him being almost kind of a delinquent in terms of how they're reframing him a little bit, it like that doesn't line up to me.
To me, it's not even like, I think they were trying to go for the like, he was not rough, but like he has a friend who maybe like, you know, gets him into trouble sometimes, like an Ed and Eddie type thing, right? But it's
sure.
And maybe this is me, and I, you know, like watchers out there, anybody coming to, you know, look for dirt on me and Andrew, maybe you can answer this too. It's like, Damn it. What was I gonna say? I saw Shinkai's comment about missed opportunity, Andrew, to say they're throwing webbing at the wall. Damn it. What was I saying? Do you remember?
Uh, actually, reading Shinkai's comment completely
See?
made me forget.
What power do you have over us, Shinkai? But yeah, I guess maybe this is what I was saying, but this is at least another thought I wanted to add to this conversation is on your note about like, throwing webbing at the wall, if you will, right?
Mhm.
So when I think of Spider-Man, of pretty much, of all comic book characters, I definitely associate him with like melodrama, with interpersonal drama, right? Yes, everybody has their supporting cast, yada yada. That it's so central to him, right? And so we're running on 40 60 years of Spider-Man at this point. You got to come up with new ideas. When I think about that, I think of like Young and the Restless, soap operas, telenovelas, which they have to go on in perpetuity forever. And if you guys know anything about TV, you'll know that those aren't like, they don't write those out as seasons like they do with other shows. Like those are written week by week. And that's where you get, all those jokes about like, oh, I slept with you, but it was your clone. No, it was your dead dad. And it was like, all that stuff. That like, as we can see, it's ridiculous. Absolutely. But in these telenovelas, if you're already in here, they work. The problem is so I see them trying to do that with Spider-Man, right? And that's where you get like Paul. That's where you get, oh my God, the really hot, like his last girlfriend who's hot, and then they never mentioned her.
Shay.
And like, yeah, Shay, and then like unknown child or best friend from the past. The problem is with those sitcoms, with those soap operas, they're allowed to go like, what's the extreme? Let's fucking go for it, right? You bring up that good point is that Spider-Man writers are hamstrung. So even if they wanted to say like, let's have Aunt May have a new kid, and that new kid is actually a Celestial and actually is, related to the other. It's actually the outer space like spider god that came to Earth and left a piece of the other. I don't know, right? It's ridiculous, but it's something. But then Marvel goes, no, that's we can't go that crazy. So then what do you get? Aunt May has a lost kid. We've been here for like 3 issues, and we haven't even introduced like, is there another shoe that's about to drop? Is he bad? What's the catch here? All we've really gotten is just like, oh, hey, Aunt May, meet your lost kid, which is nice, but not necessarily what I'm coming to a weekly Spider-Man comic for. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just weird. I'll also point out, which I'm sure rubbed you the wrong way too, there's a point in here where, Aunt May is talking about like her 3rd miscarriage and says this line about like, oh, the doctor was explaining the damage to my body, all mansplainy. And I'm like,
that was a moment where I was like, wait, is this 2018?
Well, like that's
not only that, but it just doesn't sound like something
it doesn't
May
sound
would
like
say,
her,
because she's from a generation like that wasn't a word, that wasn't a thing. If anything, Aunt May is from a generation where doctors' words were law.
Like if they
try to talk to somebody, like if I were to try and talk to one of my grandparents and say something that is counter to whatever their primary care physician was telling them, they'd look at me like I had 3 heads.
Like, guys, remember, these doctors told all of our grandparents, like, oh, you're 3? Get a cigarette in you. Like develop those lungs, right? Like, that's where Aunt May would be. Okay, and here's the thing, too, right, Andrew? Like, speaking of that, we all can understand that back in whatever 20s, 30s, 40s, there was more of a like misogynist bent to everything. Like we've all accepted that. We all know that. So even if I can see May having a sentiment like this, right? But it boils down to, like, if you really want, I wouldn't write her like that, but if you really wanted to, it still boils down to that word. She wouldn't say he got all man. He would say something like,
that's Gen Z language.
She'd say something like the doctor, kept insisting he knew better. Typical, like male doctor, something like that. Like she wouldn't. that just felt like the use
typical
of
male with a
mansplain here,
PhD or something like that,
something
right?
like that, right? Like, and maybe even her boyfriend, like Ricardo, would have made a line about like, and doctors back then, like you have to listen to whatever they say.
Mhm.
But yeah, it comes out of nowhere. It doesn't feel like it's her voice, and it's another one of Kelly's done this a couple times where like out of nowhere he throws in a modern day ism, which
Yeah.
we've seen in lots of comics at this point, both used to good
Yeah.
effect to bad effect. They, at least for the most part, they like fit. Connor Kent is, or like Con L is saying it or something, right? This is just feels like you wanted to get a dig in. And it's not 2018, like Andrew said. Like that's what all of that was back then, was like, let's use these comics to get these random, swings in at our ideological opponents. And there's a difference between, discussing an issue and taking a stance, like we see in Batman with the corrupt cops, and just like yelling and like you're going, and that's what Kelly keeps, and it's for no reason.
And this is like the second or the third time he's done it in however many issues in we are
like,
now.
what are we?
20 years? We're 31 issues.
We're 30. Oh, I mean, they do publish twice, 3 times. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
it's multiple times.
Scared
a month,
the
so.
shit out of me there for a second.
Yeah.
Also,
But it took me out of it, not in the like stupid like late 2010s like culture war respect, but it took me out of it in terms of like that's just not language that May would use.
Exactly. And
it was
so then,
character breaking in terms of vernacular.
And because of that, that's where you start thinking like, why? Like, what is the point? And that's where we just, all of our understandings about all of this, unless we understand what he's doing here, unless by some miracle Kelly comes out in like 5 years and says, here's the text messages, like signed and everything. I lost a bet with like my wife and I had to put this in a comic. Like I had to, like, fine. We would all laugh about that. We would get that. But that's really that's the only excuse any of us would take at this point. If he says something about like, oh, I'm just trying to be hip, or I'm trying to, remind people of it's, I don't know, as kind of like Clone Geek said at the top of the show, not just Brand New Day tie-ins, but the youthful Spider-Man is being written by a bunch of like 50-year-old divorcees. So you're never going to get the right story, even the one you're aiming for. So yeah, like, I guess at the end here, I'll say,
that is a really good shot of Ray, actually.
Gleason is a good artist. I like Gleason as an artist. You don't get me wrong. And it's a really good shot of Ray. But at the end here, I guess to put a stamp on it, of course, like we know the book's not good. And we don't really have, Andrew and I have been like that with every issue. There was just something about this one, as you guys can probably tell, with me like locking onto the cover and then all these discussions about the word usage and what are we doing. Something about this issue, like I told Andrew, I was like, Amazing Spider-Man sucks. And he's like, par for the course. And I was like, yes, but this issue in particular. And I'm like,
you were like more so than usual.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't even know if I can describe it. Just read it and you'll know what I'm talking about. And it maybe it's like, it boils down to, again, throwing webbing at the wall, like you were saying. You and I have made jokes for these past weeks that we're Wally Beasing here with Amazing Spidey as we go into Queen in Black, into Armageddon and stuff. But I think it's like Wally Beasing without even actually having a genuine care about delivering anything. You know what I mean? It's just like when I think of the Wally B story, okay, it sucked and it didn't really do anything, but you still had Wally going up against like a new villain and fighting somebody. Here, you guys are just like, I got to get a paycheck. Aunt May has a kid. And buckle up for 1,000, I guess, where everything will change and there's a new villain from Peter's past and blah, 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 and for real this time, guys, I swear.
Watch the new villain from Peter's past just actually be Harry. Or Norman just goes back to being Goblin.
Oh, no. Oh, fuck you. Oh, man. Okay. I don't like that I just thought of this. The Norman aspect. Because this new villain, because what I just said there, guys, that's the actual tease for the issue. Is like there's a new villain from Peter's past.
Yeah.
And, okay, so with all that, obviously he has like a new identity. They're not calling it a goblin. He's not pretending he's a goblin. What if it's a thing where it's like, who is this guy? And it turns out to be Norman, like going crazy. But the reason he's not being a goblin is because he's got this weird complex about him as Spider-Man and him being a hero. So this is supposed to be like, I'm goblining myself, if you will. You know what I mean? And like, again, that doesn't make it good. That sucks. I don't want that to happen. But I just had that thought of like, oh, they could do that like that. And it makes narrative sense, if you will. You know what I mean? Like, not cohesive story sense or quality sense, but it would work in with everything we have dealt.
At this point, I'd be far more invested in them just like actually keeping Norman as a like pseudo good guy for
because you know what
a
they're
long
gonna do?
time
They're
running.
gonna do the thing that they always do, where they take him back and then fucking 5 years down the line, another writer is gonna go, you know, it could be interesting. Norman's a hero.
If Norman
like,
Osborn,
well, we
yeah.
already did it. And we already know, like, this is like the 5th fucking time you've tried to like let him redeem himself. At what point does Peter like get committed and put in the raft for being just an idiot? You know what I mean? Ugh. This book. That's all I really have to say about it. Andrew, how about you? Any last words before we move on to quality, to Kino?
I don't have anything else to say about this book. This book gives me pain.
This book is...
This
is our boy, man, and like your flagship fucking title, and you guys can't do a thing.
Marvel is. I don't want to sound like people who think that all new things are bad, or people that just want to say, you know, Marvel Comics is done, Marvel Comics is dead, Marvel Comics circling the drain, blah 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 blah. Right? Like, I'm not a YouTuber in that respect. That, you know, I need to make clickbaity titles like that in order to get views. But Marvel needs to get their crap together, because the fact that Amazing Spider-Man has been so weak for so long should honestly make them terrified. Like, I don't know the exact power structure over there, because Marvel Comics, that's the publishing wing,
intertwined with like
it's intertwined with Marvel Studios, right? And last I understood, Feige was still last I understood, Feige was supposed to actually be the one who was overseeing all of that.
All of it.
But it's like, oh, so you're screwing up the movies and the comics now. Thanks. That's great. But there's no structure. There's nothing that's moving the characters forward, that's moving the plot forward in an interesting way right now, other than like once in a blue moon, we'll have something where we're like, oh, that was kind of neat, actually. And then it doesn't go anywhere, right? Or it ends up like the resolution to that thing that was kind of neat winds up actually being kind of stupid.
Just for the most part, like Brian, the Spore, we went, oh, he's kind of a fun villain. This entire Spider-Sense bullshit and Ben Reilly blowing him up, what are we doing here? Like, that doesn't make sense. But Brian has potential as what is it, the Spore? Or I think that's his name.
Yeah, Spore, but then you have even other good books that were good feeling like, what are we doing here? Right? Like, Uncanny.
I know.
Uncanny for like 3 issues now has been kind of rough. And I'm worried about cracking open the latest one, because the current plot just isn't interesting to me. What was teased near the end of that last one, we're like, oh, so we're going to have
Monet,
Quicksilver involved?
Yeah,
and Monet.
They're going to take over for Rogue and Gambit while they have a side quest to deal with the Eye of Agamotto, dude. Like, all right.
Like, okay,
let's
interesting.
go.
Now, if that results in like a mini series, a 6-issue mini series of Rogue and Gambit, give me Mr. and Mrs. X again, right? Give me Mr. and Mrs. X.
You know it'll be another retro series. Like, they...
What? Stop doing that.
We like them. Like, you and I like the Emma one, and we like the Rogue one. Like, but that's not what we want. You know what I mean?
Give me the characters in an enjoyable way in the present.
This will make you mad, because it made me mad on this subject. They just announced a new Wolverine retro mini drawn by
another one?
by Dan Panosian. And I'm like, why are you doing, like, put him on Armageddon if you really want him on Wolverine, right? Like, what the fuck are we doing? I thought the point of those retro minis was supposed to be like, tell a non-invasive story and allow like a new talent to flex, which the art in Rogue and Emma, like, not the best, but it's pretty good. Like, you can tell, like, this person.
Darn, the Emma
one was good.
Emma
There was
Frost
just,
White Queen was solid.
it was mostly, I'm thinking about, like, there was like a lack of background sometimes, you know,
Yeah.
which is not a big complaint. It's just one of those things I'm gonna notice. It's not a big point reduction. It's just
I'm
there.
gonna notice if you have too many panels that there's no actual background.
Yeah. Oh,
Because now I'm like, you're just
right
trying
here.
to save time and cut corners.
Like,
Yeah, like right here.
I'm almost 90% sure that face of May is the same one. Like, and they just zoomed in. So
It is.
And then they zoomed in on the photo, even though that one makes sense. I'm still gonna hold it against you guys, you bastards. Well, you know what, Andrew? I have this. We have the final word from the man himself.
This is starting to sound like a bad comic book plot. It gets worse.
I don't know why it was off center. It was literally centered right before we went live. Whatever.
It was really off center.
I tried. I have a bunch of fun like clips that I set up for all of us, and including the one that we were talking about. And now I got to spend the week trying to get him to work again. But that is the final stamp. Like, look at that. Gleason's so good. But that's the final stamp.
Gleason's amazing. Unfortunately, Amazing Spider-Man is not.
So let's leave absolute dog shit to get to absolute Kino. Because, guys,
oh man,
another issue of Absolute Batman. And it's funny, like, you just made that point about, like, nothing makes sense. There's no cohesion. And it's all over the place. There's nothing exciting. There's nothing gripping. Absolute Batman is the exact opposite. Like, how many times do we get to the last page and we go, oh, fuck, like, when's the next issue? Like, holy crap. Maybe the last time I felt that was Spidey was Ultimate in the like in those early pages, like in that the, like first couple arcs, and then, as we know, Ultimate Universe fell apart.
Yeah, when freaking Hickman was still allowed to cook.
Yep, before they went, oh, we're gonna cancel it and whatever. But so with this issue, last issue, if you guys remember, we got the reveals, the introductions of essentially our Absolute Robins, who are orphans who came up through Jack Grimm's, you know, various charities and orphanages, and they now don high-tech suits to sort of protect Gotham from the Batman. That is their assignment. Last issue, we just got them, you know, we saw them. Now we get to see them in action. And we start with, I really like the sequence because we view it through Alfred's eyes. And Alfred is like, you need to get out of there, Bat. Like, you will get your ass handed to you. Like, this is not a fight you can win. And then there's that line where he's like, I've seen this before. Like, this is, yeah, it's like, he doesn't care about like winning or a strategy or a goal. Like, he's got to just let it out. And I'm like,
yeah,
I get it. Like, after everything, you know, learning that your entire life was manipulated by Jack Grimm. Yeah, right? Like, your mom just died. Everybody thinks you killed Gordon. Like, I get it, man. And you know, to Alfred's credit, I get his side too, where he's like, this is what they like, don't give it to them. This is the press that they want. They want you to be the enemy. And Bats is still like, I got to do it. I'm sorry.
I just got to hit something. That's what it is. It's that I just have to hit something energy.
Dude, like,
and
look at
there's honestly, that's one of the, like, even though it's in a negative context, that's a pretty male thing. That's a high testosterone thing where it's like, you could be the most patient, like, even-keeled person in the world. Everybody, and I do mean everybody has breaking point. There's not, some people just have a far higher threshold than others, but when you hit that breaking point, you have basically two options.
Yep.
You internalize it and it destroys you from the inside out,
or you externalize it and it destroys you from the outside in, right?
Yeah,
like,
and you just have to, you got to hit something, right? And so neither one is ideal. Neither one is okay.
They're not good.
But this is something that's very human. And despite like all the zaniness that is the Absolute Batman book, there's still very human stories being told. Oh my gosh. Here.
I mean,
I gotta say, it's pretty ridiculous how much Scott Snyder is constantly taking big swings and pushing against normal conventions. Because here's the thing, in most comic books, if you in your scripting have more than like 6, maybe on the rare occasion 7 panels on a page, you're going to get looked at sideways by any artist
or by
Scott
anybody
Snyder,
who read Heroes in Crisis.
Right. Scott Snyder regularly, and I mean regularly, not just a couple of times in
It's
issue,
like every
regularly
issue.
has
Yeah.
like 10, 11, 12 panels, sometimes even more. And I think that's a combination of him and Nick Dragotta.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
it does have a lot to do with the art style as well. Like if somebody has a very detailed, high rendering style, you lose a lot of that if you have a bunch of panels, so you're compressing panel size and things like that. But if you have a style that is very dynamic and not super rendered, it's actually a fairly simplistic style on its face. And I don't say simplistic as a
In a bad way.
pejorative.
No.
It's just that it's not a highly rendered style, and therefore you don't end up losing detail if you have smaller panels, right? And Nick Dragotta's style for Absolute Batman pairs beautifully.
It goes
with that.
right with that idea. Yes, it does. Like, and it's funny because you and I were both like, it's Dragotta, I don't know, a little stylish, but I think he's proven that this is like his book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, not that anybody else couldn't draw it, but he's like, I'll show you why I'm the man for the job.
Well, the only other person that I think could really nail the same tone they got as an alternate artist for 2 issues, right? They got Eric Zanetti.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, exactly. So
and he kicked ass.
He really did. So I think you're right. Yeah, give it to them on that one. But yes, so in that, you know, as Andrew said, to that point, there, like, you see a fight here. It's not just like 1 or 2 hits. Like the Robins, they fight, they hit, they're firing, they're coordinating. We even get, like, I loved this bit where, you know, Dick Grayson's mech is so giant that at one point Batman just like climbs onto it and everybody's like, where'd he go? Like, where's the visuals? What the heck? And he manages to, you know, place a bunch of explosives and EMPs all over him. But this is probably the most consequential part, because for all the, you know, fanfare and the crazy and the, whoa, new characters, there's still plot here. He's still doing something. And we get to Jason, which makes complete sense. And Jason, in his essentially, he's the closest to like a Gundam, like a Pat Labor unit. Like, yeah, he's a mecha, and with his giant gun,
Pat Labor. Oh
yeah,
man,
I took that swing.
Man.
Yeah, I took that swing because that's what he is. But in the chaos, Jason, you know, being Jason, lets his anger override him, and you know, we're supposed to shoot the Batman. He just blows out an entire building and like a power grid and like a neighborhood. And again, this isn't like No Man's Land. Like, this isn't Batman v Superman where they're on some weird island where nobody's around. This is, they say specifically,
this is
like,
Gotham.
We evacuated them. Like, we had to evacuate them. And then even here, you know, I love this too, because like Dick is still Dick, right? Dick, like, he gets out of his mech and Slade Wilson is like, get the hell back in there. Like, what are you doing? Mission, follow the mission. And he goes, I signed up to save Gotham, not destroy it. So we're getting out. I'm going to go check on the rubble and see if there are any survivors. Eat my asshole, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's Dick. Like, I'm liking these characters, but eventually, I don't know if you would say Batman wins, but he outsmarts them, right? Like, Harley sends in an army of bat drones, and they distract the hell out of all the mechs while also taking bats away from it, with another hilarious panel of him hanging. I don't know. I always like those panels, like when Bane had him and was like flinging him around. But from there, we go to Gordon's funeral, and we get a what do you call it? Like a speech from Barbara talking about
the eulogy.
Yeah, eulogy. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Like, you know, we gotta be together for each other. It's honestly, like, yeah, it's written out. I feel like if I heard this live, it would resonate pretty well. It feels like a really touching speech.
No,
like
it was a well-written speech. I'd say it was a well-written speech.
But so then we get the, as you guys could see, everybody in Gotham is here. It's a giant event. Gordon is beloved. You have the Robins in attendance, and they come up to Babs and they're, our condolences. We're so sorry. She rightfully goes like, yeah, like Dick says, like, I'm doing this because I've seen the damage Batman has done up close, like he did to your dad. And she goes, the damage, like blowing up an entire building. And I'm glad, like, it's such an immediate holding them to task, right? Because I feel like in a lot of books, somebody will do something, events will happen, and then maybe we'll get back to it in 4 issues. And then you think the entire time, like, will nobody say anything about this? So Babs does. Babs calls him out, even says to their face, like, he would approve of Batman more than he would approve of you guys, which is obviously, this is probably our catalyst moment. I don't know how many of you guys have seen it. Snyder did announce and confirm that we are getting Absolute Babs in just a couple issues. Like she's on she's on deck. So this is definitely probably going to be that moment where she decides, like, I got to take up the mantle. Mm-hmm. So, funnily enough, to you, Shinkai, who said he was not expecting a Bishonen Two-Face cover, that's the thing. Two-Face is just fabulous now, right? Like, he's rocking that long hair. Literally,
it's kind of a creepy design, though. Like,
I'm not against it.
I'm not either. It's giving me, though it's not a 1-to-1, obviously, it gives me a little bit of like Slenderman mixed with the Grudge vibes.
I get that, and then interestingly, I get Eclipso. But like a good Eclipso vibe, not like a bad Eclipso. Like not Flash where we dropped it in All In Eclipso, but like Justice League Eclipso, you know what I mean? So with everybody in attendance, Bruce's friends, aka the Gotham Rogues Gallery, they're together. And it's a nice moment, but it's also like you're starting to see, like, it's all falling apart. Even though they're all like, we're together, we're in this, we're friends. They think, like, they believe that, they accept that. They just don't know already that, like, it's gone. Like they're all twisted. Penguin describes how, like, oh, my club was dead one night. I just went out and I butchered the shit out of another club just to make a move. And then Two-Face talks about how, like, I've just been stalking Victor Zsasz. Right? I think it's such an interesting angle that I'm surprised nobody's done before, but like revealing that Harvey is a friend of Bruce Wayne, Batman, made it so that the Gotham PD, like, this is right. Unfortunately, they went, all the prosecutions you've ever done are now suspect. Like we can't trust them, so we have to let them go. So now Harvey's like obsessed with, like, justice, Two-Face, doing all that fun thing. And I do like how he moves his hair. It feels anime-y. Like it's excessive, but it works. I don't know. It adds something. Yeah. Even though it's a little try hard, right? Like, okay, buddy, like, oh, blue side, what? Chill out. But I don't know.
Yeah, right. Like, dial it back. You're at a 14. I need you at like an 8. Like,
we're good. Two-Face is a great name. Loving the half suit, but although I will laugh about that, Andrew. I was like, he wore his half suit to like the funeral, not that right. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's like a little, I'm like, dude, you're styling way too hard for like a solemn funeral, you know what I mean? Like, you're not supposed to be the center of attention. But that's just me being a dork. But then from there, we finally get to the crux of this issue, and this is the part where, again, it's that page turn. It's that I have to see what comes next. We go back to Bruce, who is back on the job site, and he is obviously, he's kind of lost, right? With like everything we said, his world is shattered. The Robins are out to get him. All his friends are turning on him. Yeah.
Except for Way. And so he's on like the job site, and like his boss is like, hey, come say hi to these investors. And he just like kind of waves at them. I think the implication here is that he's like contemplating suicide, or like maybe not even contemplating, but like thinking about it. Or like, do you know what I'm trying to, like, philosophizing on it? Like, I could just do it. I could jump. I think that's one read on it, and I think it's a reasonable read. It could also just be one of those things where, like, he is in a space where mentally he needs to be as far away from other
Right.
people as possible at the moment. And since he still has to work a job, he's on the job site, and the furthest possible place he could be from other people is on the very edge of that
Of
beam.
that beam with like no connection, no safety
And it
gear
also is kind of representative
of where he is. Like,
metaphysically of where he is. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
like
So he doesn't have anybody around him. He doesn't feel like even though he does actually have Pennyworth helping him, even
he's
Harley
got
is helping
Harley.
him, the
Yeah,
right? But those aren't necessarily friends. And so the people
they're
that he considered
coworkers, if anything.
friends,
Yeah,
comrades, he doesn't have those people anymore, really, even though again, Wayland is still on his side. He's still
he's
defending
got
him, right?
Waylon, but yeah, like Gordon, his mom, Ozzy, Riddler, Two
He
Face,
feels very isolated right now, right?
super.
He's a man
And
on
I
an
think,
island.
to your point about how it's like, evocative of the metaphysical aspect of him. There's also to me that aspect of like he's on the beam, which is he's a builder. He is on that construction site. He built that beam out there. He's the only reason he's out in this isolation is because he built the Batman, and he knows that. But it's like, I can't just give it up because I know too much now. Like, there are 26 arcs sitting underneath this planet. I can't just give it up, even though I know, kind of like what we were talking about with Peter, right? Like, I don't want to have to do this, but I know I have to. Except he's not taking it. He's not going like, oh, but why me? He's going like, fuck, I got to do this.
Yeah.
But even worse is, again, Snyder with your page turns. Hello, Bruce. I'm Jack Grimm. So
Frickin'
nice
Jack.
to finally meet you. And guys, it's muted in here, but when I don't know how many of you know this, but when I make our thumbnails, I try to brighten up and oversaturate the main image just to make it pop a little more. Even if I go a little overboard, it'll catch your eyes, right?
It still works for thumbnails.
Exactly. And so I sent Andrew one of this panel with like the text bubbles and everything. And when I lightened it up, his hair is green. That suit is technically purple, and his face is not colored. Like, it's the whitest tone you can get to like peach before going into whites. And I was like, that's an amazing coloring job, guys. Like, that is super subtle. Because here it comes across gray and regular skin color and like a blue suit. So yeah, Dragota's great at it. But yes, Bruce realizes, he snaps, he goes to swing at Jack. Jack even admits,
and
like,
Jack just
dude.
catches it, man.
Well, like, I don't know why I've been thinking about it a lot more lately. Maybe it's because he's finally coming back into the picture, but like, he is, for all intents and purposes, Jack Grimm is this world's Bruce Wayne. Like,
yeah,
our Bruce Wayne, if he had an alternate alternate universe, it's Jack. So he's got that training. We're seeing our Batman on the back foot, which we only see during like those year one times, right? Before he's really Batman. So he's beat Bane. He beat Poison Ivy. And a man is able to just grab his hand and stop this mountain from like, and they're on a balance. Like, he doesn't move. He doesn't budge. He literally does like the Goku. He's just like, hi, how you doing? And like, this Jack is so terrifying because there's no joking. He's like, he gets to the point and he goes like, I'm the man who made you. Back then I thought you were just a side project, but now I love you. Right? Like, what is this? Like, what is his game? But then, yes, he tells Bruce, like, I want to do this I love this sport. And Bruce goes like, I'm not afraid of you, which admittedly he wouldn't be of this. Like, Joker turns into his dragon face here. He scares. Boo.
Yeah.
That's in our thumbnail. At first I was like, would Bruce not at least have like wider eyes or maybe not even quit back? But I'm like, he's gone up against Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze, Bane, a centaur. Like, this stuff isn't really, it's kind of old hat to him. Surprising, yes, but not like insurmountable. But yes, we basically get Joker revealing himself to Bruce, getting into that mental game with him, and then basically telling him, you can only die, you can only end this Batman when I say it's over. Right? And then we end with that final panel of, at least what I assume, is Clayface. 'Cause isn't that the next villain? So it's like Clayface building up into a replica
I think so.
of Abs Bats. And I think we get a lot of those stories, right? Where it's like, oh, who is behind the mask? They're more violent, like Peter and Norman, right? Like Norman was Spider-Man. Like who could that be? They're kind of old hat. Because we all know, like, guys, use your thinking. Superior Spider-Man, think your Cap, think for like 2 seconds and you'll realize like everything is off. But I think we have an interesting dynamic here where like all of the city is against him at this point. So you're going to throw in this stupid, bumbling, brash Clayface Bats. It's going to be really easy for people to believe it. You know what I mean? Like we're not going to have to.
Well, because the city's already at least in large part against him and has a negative look on him, a negative read on him. And so all you're doing is leaning into what people are already feeling.
Right. And I don't know. I think that kind of like Snyder does it so naturally where all these events like run into each other and they make sense as like the next event, I guess. I don't know. It's just, guys, like the storytelling difference between this and Spider-Man, amazing. It's not even night and day. No, like not even night and day, man. It's like the God of Light. It's the Enigma Force versus the fucking Void. You know what I mean? Like it is that stark. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I guess that's all to say. Absolute Batman is incredible.
It's still Kino.
I'm very surprised they have not yet announced plans to compact them, like the first volumes at least of like Bats, Superman, and Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? Like it's
right. They probably should sooner rather than later to capitalize on the hype of it.
Yep.
Because I can understand there's probably a desire to not have that overtake like trade and hardcover sales.
As soon as you said that, I was like, oh, you know what? You're probably right. Where like it's hot, so people will buy the hardcovers and the trades.
Even if they did it like a month or a couple of months after the trade and hardcover came out, man, like,
well, like
take advantage of that.
We've already gotten to the point, as we saw with Free Comic Book Day, where they're doing like exclusive dust jacket releases, right? Fine, okay, you are signaling to me that like you're ready to go into like the collector higher, like I don't know. I would like to, it would be I would be curious to talk to somebody in that part of the industry to go, is the fear, like the threat of compacts cannibalizing trade sales a thing? Like, is that actually a thing? Or is it like a team sport where it's like a win is a win? You know what I mean?
I think if I were to comment on it before we get out of here, I think it's multiple audiences. It's two different audiences, right? So the compacts, I think, are targeted towards people that want to get in on something at a lower price point that gets them really good bang for their buck, right? Something that's very portable. They can take it with them to work. They can take it with them to school, whatever. That as opposed to your trade audience, right? Which is, yes, readers buy those as well, but also collectors like us get those because like, hey, I really liked this run. Therefore, I want to actually get the full collected edition of that
I want to have it. I want to have it locked nice and give it the prestige I think it deserves. Yeah.
And then you have, in the Venn diagram of that, you have people who are like you and I, who also grab both.
Right.
Right. So I think they're probably still trying to measure out what all that really looks like.
I think so too. Especially because with Absolute, this is the comic industry hasn't seen this interest, this explosion in a series,
in a while.
You will, in a long time. So I'm sure there's a level of like, we don't even like we don't even know where to start. Like we could easily fuck this up if we don't do it right. So I get it. It's just, I want them, DC. I will buy 9 of them. I already told you. They're all behind me back there. Or I'm covering them. They're all right there. There you go. DC Compacts. But, Andrew, any last thoughts on Batman?
Scott, Nick, just keep doing what you're doing.
Just keep at it, man.
Just keep killing it. You guys are putting out a banger of a book. This is a book that is doing a lot of good for the industry right now.
So nice to finally meet you. Absolutely, like what an insane ender right there. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
with that, we somehow managed to spend 30 minutes talking about 2 books. I get it's par for the course. I don't know why you and I try to ever pretend we can quick hit things, but I think it's a good spot for us to start wrapping up. Obviously, you guys can see we've been going so long that my TV went into auto shutdown mode. So no more Japanese Spider-Man. Now it's time for signing off, I suppose. So Andrew, I will give you the floor as soon as I find the thing I'm trying to bring up. Actually, I'll just give you the floor. You talk. I will fix this.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. As always, we have a lot of fun having you guys be able to listen to our ramblings and musings upon the new comic book talk of the day. Intellectually honest comic book talk. That is strictly what you will find here on Foil Variant. Please consider pre-ordering Arcstream False Start #1 over at Rippaverse.com, which is also now available to pre-order on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Target, and Walmart, which is completely
it's fucking
wild.
weird. Like there are
Crazy to think about.
Andrew and I have physically like seen the listings on our computer screens, type them in manually, and they come
including for issues 2 and 3 of this arc.
Like we are not getting pranked. We are making sure.
Yeah. However, only the mass print cover is available on those other retailers. The covers A through C are strictly available through the Rippaverse website. So please consider grabbing any one of the covers. I don't care which one. And if you've already pre-ordered, let me know which cover you decide to opt for and why. I would appreciate that. Thank you to anybody that has pre-ordered my book. In advance, thank you for letting me know what you think of it once you do get it in your paws and you read it and either enjoy it or don't enjoy it. Hopefully the former. But yeah, I'm very proud of this story, very proud of this arc, and I'm looking forward to everybody getting their hands on it and letting me know what they think.
As you should.
Absolutely. And make sure
this
you head over to
I got nothing. I had a nice graphic that I fucking made, and I'm looking for it, and it's gone.
It's okay.
And I'm I'll have it next week. It'll be here, guys. But take it away. Tell them where to go.
Head over to Room of Requirement on YouTube, which is where Mary and I do our Harry Potter lore videos. We're very proud of the channel. Very proud of the work that we've been doing on there, both on the video, like scripting side and on the editing side in terms of her and Dylan's work that they've been putting into it. A lot of work goes into these videos.
Yes, they do.
And it's a ton of fun to be a part of. I'm very proud of what we've been doing. Got a lot of fun videos on there, especially for those who are, familiar with Harry Potter perhaps, but maybe there's some stuff that you guys aren't familiar with. We do a lot of fun lore deep dives, provide knowledge and introspective looks at characters, at themes, and it's a lot of fun. So
and
please
of course,
check that out. Thank you to everybody that's already subscribed.
As December approaches, you'll be ramping things up with the release of the new series, and whenever Hogwarts Legacy 2 comes out, which I don't know, is that this year, next year?
Hogwarts Legacy 2 is probably next year.
Okay. Either way, go over to Room of Requirement for all of your Harry Potter needs. Go over to Rippaverse, pre-order Arcstream False Start #1. Remember, July 24th, final order cutoff. You've got a month and 6 days at maybe 7. I don't know. I'll check later. But go get on it. As for me, I'll see you guys. I guess I got nothing going on. Still planning on coming back on streaming maybe next week. There's just a lot that goes into setting it all up again. So with that, guys, that's all I've got. Andrew?
That's it, guys. As always, thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate the hell out of you.
All right. Take it easy. We'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And remember, the solicit copy is the sales copy. You've got to read the issue. All right, guys. We will see you next week. Take it easy.
Never before have we had greater face a complex, rapidly changing world. Think of it a moment.
It is a world in which supersonic speeds are commonplace. It is a world that has seen the coming of the atomic bomb. It has seen the rise of the total state, the dictator, and the mass man. It is a world of new sensations, new excitements, new distractions.
So much to be learned by so many in so little time.
And I suppose you're here with no agenda, as per usual?
On the contrary, I'm here for comics. What kind of man are you anyway? I'm talking comics and you bring up chicks and romance?